Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. The show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for November 2018. My name is Jonathan Leung, and joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson, or should I call you Mr. Gaddy's himself?
Well, I don't know if I'm Mr. Gaddy's yet. I don't know. I haven't even made a pizza yet.
You're not the Mr. Gaddy's, but
he's probably better at making pizzas than I am. But I'll fix his games for him.
There you go. Well, guys, we want to thank you for joining us tonight for the show. Remember that you can interact with the show during while we're conversating here, Tim, in the live chat. We have quite a lively chat tonight, Tim. I see, Ohio, Louisiana, just some of the places that we have people from in the live chat. So please feel free to ask questions, add suggestions or comments as we go through the live show tonight. So, Tim, before we get started, let's go ahead and just talk about what we've been doing. Obviously, Tim, you've been up to a lot since our last live show, which was actually 5 weeks ago, because we skipped last week because of Halloween. We actually delayed it a week. So, Tim, what have you been doing in that time?
Well, John, I was able to turn in my 2 weeks' notice because I didn't want to burn any bridges there. Sure. So, gave my 2 weeks.
Still very friendly with Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
Right.
Lots of friends and people there, and good conversations I've still had with those folks. But we went to Austin, Texas for training for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, well, what was neat, John, was when I was in Austin, Texas, of course, guys, you know, when you're traveling, you eat out every night. And they had a water shortage there.
Yes, I remember hearing the news.
And so that was kind of challenging. Everywhere you go, it was like bring your own Coke or something. You would buy a bottle of Coke or whatever and bring with you. But here's what was fun. Every night I got to go to a lot of different game rooms and play different games because I wanted to see some of the newer style games that we were going to be getting at Mr. Gaddy's and play them.
Sure.
So I went to two different not joysticks. Help me, John.
Pinballs, right?
Pinballs locations.
Right.
And if you're ever in Austin, Texas, let me highly recommend that you go to Pinballs.
There you go.
Not just for pinball games, although I had so much fun with over, I think, 200 pinball games and but then they had a lot of new games, a lot of redemption games. They had a lot of everything.
Sure.
Three stories, I think. It was crazy. And had a great time in training.
And I forgot, you sent me the pictures, but I forgot to put those on the outline, guys, so I'm sorry for that just right up front.
Yeah.
I would have put those on the outline.
Just some
you sent
cool
them to
games.
me, but we just didn't put them up there.
But you know how it is, training, and then I got back and went right to work. So yesterday, what's today? Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
So Tuesday we actually started interviews. I actually was able to get my boss to make some job offers today. So hired some future shift leaders for us. And I'm really excited today because I feel like I got a good team and a lot of good people. Community's excited. Everybody, every day. I should have been wearing this shirt 2 or 3 weeks ago. Everywhere I go, oh my gosh, you work for Gaddy's. When are y'all opening? We can't wait to come. And I'm like, well, you need to spread it out because everybody can't come the first day or it's going to be wild and crazy. So can't wait to show some of those videos. My games are coming next Monday.
So we will have pictures of the games next Monday.
We will take some pictures and maybe a video or some walkthrough or something. So maybe we can share that on Facebook. Want you guys to see some of the latest, greatest games that are out there. And, anyway, that's just nothing but busy, working night and day. I think I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. I'm still wired up and ready to go and still got more to do when I get home. But ready to do a live show and help you guys. Don't want to forget where my roots are and where we came from. So live shows, yes, will continue. And I may have to go to work when I get through or take a break or something. But
it's once a month. It's only once a month.
It's only once a month.
Only once a month. So you can do it for that.
And I know when they are, so I
That's right.
plan to be off.
Okay, so there you go. Now, speaking of pictures, Tim did share with us some pictures of the construction that's happening at the Mr. Gaddy. So I actually have those in the outline. So Tim, we're going to go ahead and show these. And while we do that, I'm going to switch around with you. I just noticed that I want to switch chairs with you. But you can go ahead and narrate a little bit about what we're looking at here as far as the construction goes.
Yeah, Gaddy's is in a what's called the Time Square.
French Quarter.
I'm sorry, French Quarter. Why do I always get those mixed up?
French Quarter.
The French Quarter Shopping Center, which is right across from our mall It's a kind of a really long shopping center, maybe 20 stores or so. And right in the middle of it is Gatti's, and it used to be a
Hancock Fabrics.
Hancock Fabrics.
Yeah.
What was funny was a lady who worked for Hancock Fabrics for years came by and wanted to peek in today.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it blew her mind because, as you guys can see, the construction pictures there, it was just a flat face on the front, and we'll show more pictures here in a minute. What the owner of that we leased from the shopping center, he did that outside facing for us while we've been working on the inside. He did that on the outside, and it totally got gutted and got a remodel, and it's still not there yet. But I wanted to update and show you guys some of the progress.
So what I did here, Tim, is I kind of I put like the early shots. So I did put like a little plug in there for jobs if anyone was looking for one.
There we go.
That was on there. But you'll see it's kind of a progress here. So the middle photo, Tim, is kind of the initial construction that you guys did.
Right.
And then the one on the right is kind of the middle, I guess you could say. And then we go to this one, Tim, and we have like the finished product, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically what it looks like. Now, you told me it was a false face. There's really no windows, even though it looks like windows are
I like to kid everybody and tell them that top door up there in the doghouse is my office. But it's a false face. But what's cool is the word French Quarter has white LED lights, and at night that lights up. And then right now we just got a banner, but coming soon is a giant 8-foot lit up Mr. Gatti sign. And I'll take a better picture of that maybe as we get closer.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I think it looks really nice. And then let's go. Now, Tim, you'll have to walk us through some of these photos here because I don't know. Now, I believe this first one on the left, though, is like as you walk in, if you go to the right, correct?
Yes. So the kitchen area is all in the center. And then to the right, as you can see, those guys standing there and you see some lights, that's the game room side. And I don't know how much depth you can tell. It's actually a lot. Everybody's walked in and said, I did not realize it was this big in here. It goes back quite a ways. We're going to have about 40 games, but a lot of them are big style games like the 4-player Halo.
Or the Connect 4 hoops.
The Connect 4 hoops. Those type of things. Claw machines and so forth. So that is the game room is on the right. And then on the left is the buffet side, and that's right. What that third picture on the right is kind of our middle room where we're building. You guys might can tell the wood tile floor in there will look a lot greater when it's not all dusty and everything. They're sanding the floor right now and putting staining in the game room, so it's going to have a concrete stained floor, not carpet. We're going to go into the next pictures.
Yeah, so here's some more here.
Okay, and so this would be the one on the left. There's a counter right there. That's where the buffet will have stainless steel tops. That's a window going to the kitchen where they can look out and see how the buffet is going. So the kitchen there again is in the middle. The far picture on the right, that is the office that I will spend some time in. You guys can tell that I'm taking a picture. There is a window right there where I can look out the office and I can see the game room.
So that's a different window. That's the game room window, and then this is the buffet window.
Yeah, that is the buffet window on the left. That window goes to the game room, so I can look out. Behind me is a door. I can look out that window and see the game room and kind of keep an eye on those game guys over there,
There you go. And let's continue on here. So, Tim, I see this looks like more kitchen, maybe?
Yeah, more kitchen area. Just to kind of give you guys a depth, like the office is right next to that door on the right. That is a walk-in cooler. Then it goes way back there. Lots of sink and prep areas. Those of you who are familiar, the one on the right is our oven, and that is the Middleby Marshall 360s, the latest oven, 3 pizzas wide.
Oh my goodness!
Can go 300 over 300 pizzas an hour between them two ovens.
How much staff would you have to do 300 pizzas an hour?
Well, we're going to have at least probably 10.
No, there you go.
And there may be times when we need to do almost that many with our deliveries and stuff. So
gotcha. I think, is that the last picture? I think that's the last
maybe
picture.
so.
I'll check it real quick. Yeah, that's the last picture.
I couldn't really get in the game room because they were staining and stuff in there. And as we get more pictures, I would love to update. And I'll show. I just kind of wanted you guys to see what I've been dealing with lately in the construction and stuff. We've been having to have interviews in a separate office, and but you know how fun it is to work somewhere and being on the ground floor of it. But as you can see by the facing on the outside, how the things can change and how neat it's going to look when we get done.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk about the chat here. We got a couple of people in here. Whoop whoop! It's almost arcade repair tips time. Booyah! It's about to be on like Donkey Kong. Tim, I've got my Donkey Kong shirt on tonight.
You're ready for some Donkey Kong.
We're ready for some Donkey Kong. Like I said, we have Ohio in here. We got Louisiana. A lot of highs from several people in the chat room here tonight. Tim, somebody says he likes the hat. Tim, this is Cappy.
Cappy,
For those of you guys who have played Super Mario Odyssey, this is the hat that Mario wears in Super Mario Odyssey. It has a mind of its own.
Okay.
So I like having an extra set of eyes when you have 2 kids. It's really handy. So there you go. But I like Cappy a lot. Love that game. And then I see that Eric is in the chat from the Question and Answer podcast.
Eric.
Thanks for being here tonight, Eric. And then, how far away is your Mr. Gatti's from Paris, Texas? I hope to visit my friend there and would love to come check it out with him and his son. So, how far are we from Paris?
It's about an hour from Paris, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Sulphur Springs is
about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
right?
maybe an hour and a half, but hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. Just kind of depends on the traffic. But we've been to Paris several times, so it's a pretty straight shot though, right down the highway that goes to Paris. It's not too many turns and stuff.
Now, Tim, you were unable to join me somewhere because of your obligations to Mr. Gatti's. That would be the Houston Area Arcade Expo, Tim.
Yeah, I couldn't make it because I had to go to training, but you got to go.
That's right, and I got to do a seminar with Eric, who is in the chat, like we mentioned, and so we had a good time with that, Tim. But I want to talk a minute about some of the games that we actually had, or that we got to play there. So I've got pictures, just like you had some pictures. I'll bring them up on the outline here. So, Tim, here's some of the stuff I got to play.
Oh, cool.
I got to play Parts of the Caribbean by Jersey Jack Pinball, the brand new one. I got to play Iron Maiden.
Oh, nice.
I got to play Deadpool.
Yeah.
I got to play Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's some of them. So let's go through here real quick. So Pirates was really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. And, I have yet to play a Jersey Jack game I didn't like.
Right.
All of them have been really well done. So, congratulations to Jack and his team for that. But it's another fun pinball machine, Tim. If you like the original Pirates, like the what do you call it? The Stern one. I mean, it's very different from that, but it's still a very fun game. So you're going to have a lot of fun playing it. Lots of toys, lots of different things. The same things you expect from a Jersey Jack game at this point. I mean, we've seen Wizard of Oz, we've seen Hobbit, we've seen Dialed In, right?
Right.
And so very similar as far as lots of toys, good rule sets. It's kind of the same things we're expecting from Jersey Jack games at this point. Iron Maiden, Tim, I'll have to admit, I'm not real familiar with Iron Maiden. I've just not listened to a lot of Iron Maiden music. I know a couple of songs, but I'm not like the biggest fan. Fun pinball machine though.
Okay, good.
So, and just like a lot of the music pins, Tim, it's got all the music in it. You can select songs. There's different modes per song. It's very fun to play. Deadpool was, when I first looked at the layout for Deadpool, I thought I'm not going to like it because it's very open in the middle. And I like having toys that are close, especially for kids who are playing pinball machines. I feel like having a lot of close toys, kind of like my X-Men has Wolverine, like right there. Having that's really easy for them. But after playing Deadpool, loved it.
Right.
It was a lot of fun.
I got to play Deadpool in Austin, and I loved it too.
Yeah,
it
actually plays really well.
In fact, the order has already been put in with the boss.
Okay.
That may be one of the first pins that we buy. So
very
hopefully.
nice. Well, I mean, I think that would be a good investment because it is a lot of fun. Now, you do have to watch out. Obviously, there's some R-rated stuff in it. So if you're going to put this in your bar area, Tim, I think it'd be okay. So. You have to make some modifications if you're going to put it into the main game room area.
Okay.
But, it is a lot of fun. And then, Tim, I got to play Guardians of the Galaxy, which you'd played.
Yes, we have one here at the movie theater.
Now, was it a pro model or a premium? I'm pretty sure I got to play a premium because it had the Groot hands.
I want to say it was a pro model.
Okay, so this one was a premium, and it was very fun to play. I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I love the movies.
Me too.
It was fun and integrated everything well. Tim, the artwork on these things and the screens that they put in them, just everything's amazing nowadays. I mean, just great stuff. And all 4 machines were fun to play.
Okay.
So I will say that. And then let's go on here. Now, Tim, I have a couple of other things here. We have Killer Queen on the left. A 4-player competitive joust game.
Wow!
So if you have not seen it, it's kind of cool. You play 4 players against each other, kind of in a joust type style.
Okay.
I will say that it's not joust, but similar type style. Tim, I got to play a couple of the arcade 1-ups that you have already played. There was a Street Fighter there and a Centipede, and they played fine.
Okay.
So they played like an arcade cabinet that was short. I mean, that's really what they played like. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it.
Were the control panels peeling or anything?
Not at this point, and they did not have the protector on them, and they were there the entire expo, and I never saw any damage.
Interesting.
So, I mean, they obviously held up pretty well. And then, Tim, I also got to see the 3D Pong, and which is really cool.
I want to play that.
And it's really neat. And they're coming out with a coin-operated version of it.
Oh, cool.
So if you're talking to the big boss about buying games, you may... I saw it, I think it was posted on Arcade Heroes earlier today. It's a stand-up. So you don't sit down at it. You put like bar stools at it.
Okay.
Okay, and it has a coin door on the side.
Gotcha.
So very well done. It looks like that's going to be coming soon to an arcade near you.
All right.
So I got to see all those and play some games, and I got to do a seminar with our friend, like I said, Eric, in the chat room. And so I want to thank Eric for joining me. We got through all but one of the questions, and that one question is going to be on the outline for tonight.
Okay.
So there you go. So if you came to the seminar, thanks for coming. We gave out pretty much everything that we took. We had a pretty good crowd there. I mean, considering everything. And Tim knew it was a new venue. It was a new place, and it was a lot nicer. I mean, the hotel itself was much nicer, in my opinion, and the price per room was about the same.
Oh, wow.
So it was about $100 a night, which is about what the Crown Plaza was when they had it there. And so I think overall...
Any electrical issues or all that was pretty good?
No, pretty much everything was taken care of. Of course, I did see games break down throughout the weekend, Tim. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just games get played, but no electrical issues as far as I could tell. Nice stage, big gaming area. And you had to... I thought something that was smart is you walk through the vendor room to get to the game room.
Oh, awesome.
So that way you kind of... Instead of having like the vendor room on one side, the game room on the other, you walk through the vendor area to get to...
That probably really helped their traffic and people buying stuff.
But with the rain and everything, it just seemed like the turnout was kind of low comparatively. But I don't know if it's because it was a bigger place...
Maybe.
Or if it was just because it was lower. It was really hard to tell. I hung out with our friend Matt during the swap meet. He sold some stuff, but it rained on us at one point and stuff like that. So, but we had a good time at the Houston Arcade and Pinball Expo. I want to thank, again, Eric for doing the seminar with me. We had a good time, and he brought a nice setup and test rig and everything that we could show off. So.
Awesome.
And we will have that video up at some point. We did record it. So,
okay, good.
We'll have it up at some point, so... Okay, hang on, let's see, we got a couple of things here. Did the one-up cabinets have the stand that raises the height, and if so, how was it? Those did not have the stand on them, but Tim, right over there, there's a 19-in-1 with the stand. We'll show that here in a minute. You want to show that now?
Sure, why not?
Get over there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to send Vanna over to the side, and then I'm going to... Oh, we're a little blurry. Oh, you got up, I guess it was focused on you. I'm going to send it over to you, though. Here we go. Okay, you're going to have to... I was about to say, the camera's kind of angled down, so you're going to have to... There you go. So they can't hear you very well, but you can see, as you can see, guys, the
same height as the Pac-Man.
Yeah, so we have the Pac-Man Cabaret here, and then we have the 19-in-1 with the stand. And just like we mentioned, Tim, in the original video for this, the stand is, with the stand, it's pretty much the same height as the Cabaret. And yeah, he's going to turn it on real quick so you guys can see it.
Yeah, we talked about not liking the...
Yeah, the spinner is okay. It's not as bad as I feared when you initially said it, but it's still not great. Yeah, it's still not great. But as you can see, it works pretty well. But there you go. So, go ahead and, I was about to say, do your hands and everything here.
Playing like Centipede or something, it's pretty...
So you'll see here Centipede 2, and I'm glad you're showing this, Tim, because the Centipede, you'll see the black bars on the sides. You see you see how it's centered, and you have the black bars on either side. That's pretty... Like I said, that's what they do on the vertical games. The 19-in-1 has a horizontally mounted monitor, so horizontal games look great, but the vertical games are a little off. And Tim, the trackball plays great, just like you mentioned. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like playing Centipede with the trackball. The spinner is... Well, disappointing, not quite as disappointing as what...
doesn't work with that.
Yeah, it doesn't work with the spinner. So there you go. But, yeah, I mean, it's fun to play. And
get out, or I have to...
you have to hold the start one down for like 5 seconds or something. There it goes. So, okay. Well, there we go. There you go. So you can come over here, Tim, and we'll...
See about the height.
We did a video.
It really does help having the riser, though.
Your head's kind of cut off. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I kind of...
at least see where I'm at.
There we go. Hey, we're back. So so that was the arcade one up. Tim, we actually did a video on the assembly of it that I'm in the process of editing, but I have not edited yet. So that's going to be coming out really soon. But you can see that the Cabaret and the arcade one up with the riser are about the same.
Right.
I mean, really close to the same. I mean, it's very... So there you go. For those of you guys who are curious, and like I said, we'll post the assembly video. We'll do a review video at some point in the future. So... Okay, Tim, are we caught up on everything?
I think so.
Are we ready to move on to questions? I don't think we got any other questions. Let's see. There's some chat going on with Eric in there.
Okay.
But other than that, I think we're caught up. But do remember, guys, if you're in the live chat tonight, that you can join us. If you have questions, comments, suggestions during the live show, please leave them there, and we'll get to them as we can. But for now, Tim, let us work into the questions that we receive via email, YouTube, website, snail mail, whatever. We get questions from everywhere, right? So here we go. So Tim, this first one is the one that we had planned for the live show, or not the live show, the seminar I did with Eric, but we did not get to this question in time.
Okay.
But this one is from Tom, and so I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. I have a Centipede arcade game, and the only thing not working is the red lights on the screen. It worked for a while, then went out. Could this just be the bulb or loose connection? Thanks, Tom. Okay, Tim, so we have Tom here, and it sounds like he may have a issue with the red color on his Centipede game. What do you think's going on with that red color on his Centipede game?
Well, when he first said red lights, I was thinking the cone lights.
Yeah, there you go.
But then he said on the screen.
On the screen, that's
so
right.
he was talking about just his red color is out. Well, that's normally not the tube, although that is possible. And we have a video that talks about how to test a tube to see if that red color will come on. It's real simple.
Yes.
You should watch that. But most of the time, it could be a board issue or something going on with this board. A lot of times it's the wiring and the connector going to his monitor.
Sure.
Or his red drive. Sometimes watch our video on adjusting an arcade monitor because maybe it just needs to be turned or tweaked a little. But the fact that it doesn't have any red at all usually means that it could be a red drive transistor that went out. But most of the time it's in that wiring or in the connection to the monitor or a loose a cracked solder joint or something like that. We got a lot of videos on monitor repair. Be sure and check those out. Maybe that'll help you.
There you go. So like Tim mentioned here, I will go ahead and put up the slide so you guys can see it. Missing colors issues like this are usually related to either a connection between the game board and the monitor chassis or bad parts on the monitor chassis itself. Start off by checking the input connections. Make sure that the wires are not damaged, the connector is in good condition, and that the input pins on the chassis are soldered properly. Tim, you've mentioned this in the past where sometimes that the solder on the back of the input pins will get cold.
Yes.
Or the pin will start to come loose, and you need to touch up those with solder in order to restore that connection a lot of times. So if the connection between the game board and the monitor is good, monitor chassis is good, you may have an issue with the chassis or the tube. And Tim, we do have a post on checking a monitor tube that you can watch. Shows you how to check the individual colors on the tube, and then also how to replace the color transistors on the neck board.
Right.
Because a lot of times when we're missing a color, that's what the problem is. It has something to do with the color transistors on the board. Now, Tim, you also mentioned that it could be an issue with adjustment as well. So you can try the adjusting an arcade monitor post as well. If you have your red drive too low, Tim, or something like that, then obviously you will be missing that color. And Tim, it's just amazing what missing one color will do. Right? Exactly. It just really makes a difference in the way the game looks. And, in Centipede's case, sometimes you can't see some of the bad guys without the color red.
For sure.
And so you definitely want to get that checked out. So, Tom, hopefully that answers your question, and good luck restoring the red color on your Centipede monitor. Okay, Tim, we've got some comments here in the live chat. Mr. Gatti's in the house, Michael says. There you go.
Hey, Michael.
There you go. Edward says, hey, guys, I finally got my Nintendo Red Tint. It looks and runs good. I have always wanted one. So congratulations, Edward, on a Red Tint Nintendo. Now, Tim, the cool thing about those is that they have two different monitors for both sides of the cabinet, right?
Right. And I've always liked to work on them, too, because the way they open up and they're kind of not that hard to get to. It's a fun tint. You used to get them really cheap, and then now you never see them.
Right.
So they're really getting rare. I would say if you ever have an opportunity to pick one up, that would be a great pickup.
And it's a 4-player cocktail table, basically, Tim, is what it is, which is a really cool thing to have. You got 4 guys around playing games. It's a great thing to play and have some fun with.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations on your pickup. So, okay, Tim, we are going to move on to Sherry. And Sherry says, hi, we have an upright arcade game that is about 10 years old. It was fine last night, but dead today. No noise and no monitor. The outlet works when other things are plugged in. Any ideas? Thank you, Sherry. So, Tim, Sherry did kind of the base troubleshooting on this.
Yeah.
She said, okay, I'm at least going to check to make sure the outlet I'm plugging the game into is working.
That's a good idea.
Right, so that was the one thing she did do in the troubleshooting process. She made sure that outlet was working. But where does she go from here? What other things does she need to check in order to restore her arcade game?
Well, we like to use a phrase called the ASAP approach, which means always start at power. So you've got power going into your game, but you have power going through your game. So you follow that power wire. And she did a good job. One thing I would say, if you don't have a meter, you can always plug in a vacuum cleaner or something else to the plug.
Sure.
We don't stress that enough. Sometimes it will blow a breaker or something and it doesn't work. You've got to have power there first. So then you follow it going into your game. Make sure that none of your switches are off, or they could have come, a connection on one of those could come undone and it was not flowing all the way through there. But most of the time, we're going to look into that power supply really quick. And being it's a centipede, it probably also has...
Well, no, she didn't tell us what game.
Oh, she didn't.
No,
I got
you're
that
thinking
mixed
about
up with
Tom.
the last
That's
one.
right. I was about to say. She did not tell us what game. She just said it's about... What'd she say? It's about 10 years old. Let me look right here. It's about 10 years old.
Okay. Well, it's probably not a centipede if it's only about 10 years old.
That's right.
But
or maybe she's only owned it for 10 years. We don't
maybe.
know. Right.
Yeah, it would help sometimes when you tell us the game, because I was thinking about the big blue capacitor and stuff. But... Sure. We need to find the power supply, and we have a video on checking power supply that will be very beneficial. We'll need a multimeter for that, but by most of you guys out there are getting really skilled and know how to use a multimeter. We're going to follow that power, and we're going to follow it to where it goes. If it goes to a fuse, is the fuse blown? You know, and back in the old days, John, we'd see a fuse blown, we got really excited. Now I'm like, okay, what caused the fuse to blow?
Right.
You know, and so we want to follow that AC wire. Where does it go? Is there any kind of net glow? Is there any sound? Is there anything going on? And she said it's dead.
Right.
So that leads me to believe if it's not a wiring issue or a power switch that got off or a kill switch, everybody knows what a kill switch is. That's that white button thing, the interlock that comes out. And sometimes I've had people tell me, this game worked for years, now it doesn't work, and the front door's open, the kill switch is not hit.
Sure.
And I go over there and shut it, and they're like, wow, that was fast. How'd you fix that? So you got to check those kind of things, check your fuses and stuff, but let's really look at that power supply. Make sure it's not a power. Most of the time when they just die out like that, there's no sound, there's no warning, there's no nothing. Worked one night, the next day it didn't. Check that power supply. They do tend to go out that quickly like that.
There you go. So Sherry, hopefully answers your question. We'll go ahead and recap here on our slide. As Tim said, we have a saying here at Arcade Repair Tips, ASAP, always start at power. So start off this repair by making sure that your game is getting power. Since your game will not come on at all, you're probably having an issue with the AC voltage inside your cabinet. Work from the plug all the way into the cabinet to measure where the AC voltage stops. Now, Tim, you used to have a saying, and you kind of said it here, but I like the way you used to phrase it. It's like, we have power getting to, but do we have power getting through?
Right.
That's right, exactly. And that's where we're kind of working from right now. So work from the plug all the way into your cabinet and measure where the AC voltage stops. You can do this with a multimeter, Tim. And Tim, we actually had a multimeter deal posted on our Facebook page just like yesterday, I think.
Right.
We find good multimeters, good cheap multimeters all the time. So they're not expensive. You can get you one, and it's not hard to use. Some common places for AC voltage issues, Tim, like you mentioned, interlock or kill switches, power switches, line filters, fuses, damaged wiring. That's the kind of stuff you want to look for here, Sherry, if you're looking to restore the AC voltage in your game. Now, you might want to check out our post, a post that Tim wrote on the basic troubleshooting of an arcade game for some steps to help you through this process. He kind of summarizes what it takes to actually troubleshoot and fix a game. So, Tim, did we leave anything else for Sherry, or is that about it?
I think we reviewed a lot of the stuff I said, but of course, Sherry, if you have any other issues or it's something out of that realm, which most time it's not, so go check those things first. Get back with us. Let us know if we can help you any further.
Sounds good. So, Sherry, hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that arcade game up and running again. And, Tim, I'm going to go over here to the chat. We got some chat here. Replacing a 24-inch CRT in a Killer Instinct 2 cabinet that runs MAME and Hyperspin. What do people use for an LCD that's affordable? I saw some 27-inch 1900 by 1200 that's 16 by 10. I was wondering if that would work. And Tim, I mean, a lot of people, if you want to do the affordable route, they're going to use like a consumer-grade monitor.
Right.
Okay, and that's okay if you want to go the consumer-grade route. Tim, a lot of consumer-grade PC monitors have the connections you need to run PCs automatically.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about having conversion boards or any of that stuff. So if you go the commercial route, though, it's expensive. I mean,
yes.
You're looking $300 or $400 for a, 27 that fits in that same hole.
Yeah, occasionally, especially we're getting close to Christmas time, a lot of people throw them on sale, so you might look out for that. Or you can even find them used now. They're starting to pop up on eBay and stuff, so you might check that route. Kind of, depends on what the disadvantage of, say, buying a TV or a computer monitor out at Best Buy or something is that you have to constantly turn it on. and every time you want to play the game. If that's not a big deal to you, then don't worry about it. At an arcade all the time, that would get kind of irritating every day to have to do that.
Sure.
So we would always recommend that you buy a arcade game LCD monitor, commercial grade. But for your home use, if you're comfortable with that, I would definitely make sure it's well ventilated, because with that casing on there, that does cause some heating issues. So watch out for that. Make sure that you install an extra fan or something.
There you go. Okay, JR's Vintage Toys and More says, I have a question. If you have to look for broken solder joints, have you ever used a USB microscope that you can recommend? So have you ever used a USB microscope to check for broken solder joints?
I've never used that, but I do know what he's familiar with that.
Sure.
So I can't really recommend a specific one, but I think those things are awesome, and it's one thing I should invest in, get into one. So what it does is just basically brings it up on your computer screen, right? Where you scan over an area, you see it on a bigger screen. I'm more of the cheap route, just a regular or magnifying glass.
Now, I was about to say, what we use on the bench is a lighted magnifying lens.
But I know what he's talking about, because you can really blow it up good and really get in there and really see that stuff. So, maybe just base it on price. I would think that any of them would be pretty good and helpful, but maybe somebody else has used one. If y'all want to talk about that in the chat, please join in.
I mean, really what it comes down to, though, Tim, is anything that's going to magnify the image so you can see those broken solder joints better is going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah. And the older I get, the more magnification I'm needing these days.
Exactly. So let's see. Danny says, I'm having another issue with my Lethal Enforcers. When I power it up, it makes a loud humming noise through my speaker and crackling sound, but it goes away when on a while. So he boots it up and it's making, I guess he's saying, loud humming and a crackling, but once it warms up a bit, it's okay.
You're right.
And so it sounds like there may be an issue with the audio amplification on his Lethal Enforcers. Now, Tim, I'm pretty sure Lethal Enforcers is one of those games that does need the -5. So make sure that you've got the ground wires and the -5 wires are hooked up properly. And you may have to
tweak that a little bit.
I was about to say, you may have to dial in that voltage just a bit, like Tim mentioned, in order to help it a little bit. Because it may be that power supply is putting out maybe a -4, and then once it warms up, it's kind of slowly, gradually getting to 5, something to that effect.
Maybe so, or you're at 4.8 or something, and it just takes it a little bit. Check your voltages on your power supply. This would be the first place I would start.
There you go. Okay, and Michael says an X-Tech EX330 is fantastic digital multimeter for not a lot of money. I have one of those in a Fluke 87V. The X-Tech's 90% is good. And, I used X-Tech meters, Tim, at my first job out of college when we did a lot of electronics work. The EX-Tech meters are, to me, just as good as the Fluke, and they're a lot cheaper.
Okay.
But a lot of people, Tim, just need a basic multimeter.
Right.
Now, if you're the kind of guy who is going to do more detailed voltage checks, then you do need to invest in a Fluke, an EX-Tech, something, better than what your standard multimeter is. But if you're just checking, switching power supplies, maybe some AC voltages off a transformer, a lot of times just a basic multimeter will do you.
I agree.
So it just really depends on how much you're doing. And Tim, sure, like the $12 multimeter is not going to be as good as a Fluke, but it'll get the job done. Just like a Fiat's not as good as a Cadillac.
Right.
They both get you where you're going.
You sure look cooler in one.
That's right, exactly, right. You look a lot cooler when you pull out your Fluke. I'm just saying. And a Fluke will withstand like drops of like 100 feet too, stuff like that. So.
I've used a lot of different things, but I've had a Fluke multimeter for years and years and years and years and years, and it's still, and I don't even know if I've ever changed a battery in the thing. It's just, and it's got cracks, bust on it. The screen's barely hanging on, and it still works every time.
There you go. So, awesome stuff. Okay, well, I think we're caught up with the chat room now. So, we will continue on here. Tim, the next question we have is from Mike. And so, let's put Mike's question up here. Hey, I came across your YouTube channel this afternoon when trying to troubleshoot a WWF Superstars cabinet I picked up and was hoping you could tell me what you think the issue is with this. In the video, you will see exactly what I mean. The sound and buttons work, but the video is all screwed up. Any idea what the issue might be? Just looking to be pointed in the right direction and would appreciate it. Thanks. Now, Tim, I put the link up there. The link is also below in the show description notes below. So if you guys want to actually look at it. But, Tim, since I didn't want to play the whole video, I just wanted to give you pieces of what that video looks like.
Right.
Now, Tim, you can see that
It's
in
out
the
of
video, like
sync.
he says, he can actually play, okay? So
Yeah.
it plays, he can hit all the buttons, but as you can see, Tim, it's pretty clearly out of sync. And so,
right.
Tim, we have an out of sync issue here with Mike's monitor. What's Mike need to do in order to get that dialed back in?
Well, one of the easiest things to do is to adjust both the horizontal and the vertical holds and play with them a little bit. And sometimes that will kind of work its way out.
Sure.
Or you can, by adjusting one and the other, turning one up, one down, playing with that a little bit, sometimes you can get those sync issues to go away. Especially if it was working one day and then it quit. Everybody knows the story. If you can bump the side of the cabinet and it works, then you need to look at your soldering and your wiring going to your sync wires and stuff. It kind of depends on, has it never worked? Then it may not even have the right wired sync up, or maybe it's got horizontal and it needs horizontal, vertical connecting. We got some videos on this stuff, guys, so you should watch those about the sync connections. But it's probably either a wiring issue or just a simple adjustment issue.
There you go. Now,
Also, the B plus voltage.
yeah, because we see that a lot.
If it gets too low.
Right, if it's too low or too high, we see a lot of problems with voltage being out of sync. And so you definitely want to check your B plus voltage as well. So, Tim, I think we pretty much summed that up, though, in our little thing here. From your video, it looks like your monitor is experiencing some sort of sync issue, just like you mentioned, Tim. Start off this repair by trying to adjust it. Look for the horizontal and vertical hold/sync adjustments on your monitor. Tim, the weird thing is that some monitors call it hold, some call it sync, some have both.
Yes.
And so you want to look at anything that says horizontal, vertical, hold, or sync. Okay, try changing them to see if it makes a big difference in your picture. This could also be an issue with the B plus voltage adjustment. So, you might measure it, see if it's too high, too low. Dialing that in is very important as well. And Tim, a lot of times that B plus voltage adjustment can be affected by bad caps and things like that. Over time, it could not be getting enough voltage because there's a bad cap down the line. You see that kind of stuff as well. So first though, Tim, I think I'm with you. Let's try adjusting it. So try adjusting the monitor first, see if that helps, then move on to things like B plus voltage. Now, Tim, another thing that we mentioned here is the sync wire could actually be detached, or kind of like what we talked about with the input pins earlier, that input pin for sync could be broken or have a broken solder joint.
Right.
And so you want to make sure that that sync wire that's running from the monitor chassis to your game board is in good shape as well. No cuts, no damaged wiring, no bad pins, good connectors on both ends, all that kind of stuff. And so is there anything else here for Mike, Tim, that you think will help him out with this sync
I don't
issue?
think so. If he tries those issues and none of that works, then it may be time to go ahead and do a cap kit, some things like that. But usually the things we recommended will fix that before you get to that point.
Yeah, now there's a slim chance, Tim, like you mentioned, it could be a board.
Could be.
That your board literally has video issues on it.
It'd be great if you have another game that's JAMA, you could at least test your board in, or another board into that. Sometimes that will help you eliminate. That's why we always say, especially with JAMA games, it's good to have a cheap JAMA board, an old 8-liner board that's JAMA, a 60-in-1 around. You can just pop in there and realize, okay, automatically, is this a board issue or a monitor issue? And but sometimes the sync, like with a 60-in-1, might have troubles too.
Sure.
So just keep that in mind. Some similar board or older boards seem to not be as picky.
And I agree with that. Yeah, the 60-in-1 has its issues with sync. And I was going to say, you can get Pandora's box boards like super cheap, cheaper than 60-in-1s. You can get like the 2 and 3 Pandora's box, but they also have problems with sync sometimes. Like was mentioned, multi-game boards a lot of times do, but they're still good for testing. I mean, a lot of times you can still at least get a good test out of it, even if you may not, even if it may not sync up quite right, it'll at least get close a lot of times. So it's still not a bad idea to have one of those boards around. But Tim mentioned if you can have an old 8-liners board or something like that. Tim, the nice thing about 8-liners board is that, like here, they get confiscated by the government because we can't have them here. Can't have the gambling machines here. So when they get confiscated, they sell off the stuff for cheap, and then there's 8-liners boards everywhere. So I mean, it kind of works out really well for us. You'll find them, and a lot of times, Tim, they are JAMA, just like you mentioned.
Yep.
So, well, Mike,
make sure it's JAMA first.
That's right. So, Mike, hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that WWF Superstars back in sync. And Tim, a very desirable game, WWF Superstars,
getting really popular.
Those two are very, very highly sought after by collectors nowadays.
Sure are.
So. Okay. How's our chat doing? Nothing new?
Kind of getting quiet over there. You guys doing okay?
Is everybody awake? Is this thing on?
Awake.
Is that what
Hopefully they're enjoying the show. But
They're all listening.
They're all listening
so intently that there's nobody talking.
I guess
like
so.
that. There you go.
Oh, well.
So, but we will remind you guys to interact with us in the live chat. We love hearing what you guys have to say. Tim,
really-
we'll have some opinion pieces and other things coming here in a bit. But we always like to do the questions from everybody first.
I like this next question though too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this one's
I
from
think it's a
Gary.
good question.
Okay, so Gary says, "I'm looking for a set of keys to a Williams Shuffle Bowl gold mine. Any guidance would be a big help." Gary from Boston, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Gary here from Boston, Massachusetts. Tim, he's looking for the keys to a Williams Shuffle Bowl. You got the keys on you?
No, I don't know,
right
man.
here?
I think they're in my other pants.
Oh, okay. Now I saw your old Chuck E. Cheese key ring.
chain.
I think you may have the key on there.
I think it had every key known to man on there.
I was about to say.
I look like the Mr. T of key rings. What are you wearing? I just had them on my hip right there.
If in fact, if you put a chain around and hung that from it, you'd look like Flavor Flav.
I think I would.
There you go. So, but
Well,
Tim, obviously, we don't have the key for it, right?
No, we don't have the key, and you're not probably going to find that particular key because back in the day, everybody had their own set of keys, different operators. Otherwise, people go and break in your game or do damage to your game. They try to do that anyway.
Or take the money out of your game.
Right. So what you need to really do is, if you can't find them in your game or around your game, more than likely you're going to have to replace that lock yourself. But fortunately, we shot a video on how you can either pick the lock or have a locksmith friend like we used to have here, and or you're going to have to drill it out.
You got to break in.
You got to break in, and it's not that hard. So if you'll watch our video about drilling lock out, get you a couple replacement locks, I think you'll be just as satisfied as long as you can get in and out of there.
Right. So, Tim, I pretty much put that up here as well. Now, let's see. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we'll get to the questions here.
Okay.
So, let me read this. Even though you might be able to find another Williams Goldmine Shuffleboard game, there's a good chance that it doesn't use the same key as yours. Even if Williams uses the same key on the entire production line for the game, most operators will change out the locks to make it easier to service the game when it's on location, like you mentioned, Tim, and to also keep people from breaking in. So your options are either to pick the lock, either you or a locksmith friend, or to drill out the lock, basically break in. We usually drill out the lock. Please check our post on replacing a coin door lock for more information on this process. Tim, it's not very hard.
No,
so
even though we're talking specifically about a coin door lock, there's the same lock on a lot of games, like in the back or down under or in the coin box or wherever. Locks are locks. So.
That's right. And you can, and the nice thing is, Tim, you drill it out, you replace it with a different lock.
Right.
And then you have the key for it. And that's what it comes down to.
Now, there are some specific cams and stuff that go on that lock. Keep all those parts. You're going to want to get something very similar so it will lock back like you need it to.
Exactly. So hopefully it answers Gary's question here, Tim, and hopefully he can draw out that lock, get access to it, and enjoy the game once again. So obviously you can't coin up the game unless you can open it up.
Very
so
true.
I don't know if he's been putting money in this whole time. Maybe the coin box is full. Who knows?
Or who knows what treasures may be in there once he gets in there.
That's right.
Also be careful. Could be rats.
That's right. Could be rats or other things.
Yeah.
Spiders, snakes. I don't know. Whatever you got.
We found some interesting things before in there.
There you go. So, Gary hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that Williams Goldmine Shuffle Bowl game open. So, hopefully you can.
Back to the chat.
Back to the chat. Yeah, I was about to say. Eric says, do you mind if I plug his YouTube repair channel? Go ahead, Eric. You guys should visit Eric's YouTube channel.
Yes.
Eric's Arcade, I believe. You should visit that channel. In fact, we linked to one of his videos on our YouTube channel. And, of course, Eric hosts our question and answer podcast. So if you guys want to hear more arcade repair related content, you definitely need to check that out as well. So, of course, Eric, you can do that. And Eric is also one of our moderators for tonight.
Yeah,
so thank
Eric,
you for joining
go ahead
us.
and please link to a video in there. And all you guys make sure and subscribe to his channel there in the chat room
If you're
tonight.
interested in arcade repair, can't recommend another channel that's... or can't recommend a better channel at this point. Right. So there we go. Let's see what else we got here. What's each of your favorite vintage games? And also, Tim, what vintage game? Okay, so what do you say? What's vintage?
Well, I guess he's saying what's really classic game or something that we really enjoy. You got your Donkey Kong shirt on.
I do enjoy Donkey Kong, but I mean...
Probably one of my favorites of all time.
Absolutely. If you're talking like, I guess, pre-84 or 84
yeah,
or
we'll call
before?
pre-84.
84 or before. How about that?
There you go.
I mean, it's really hard to go wrong with Galaga.
Right.
Asteroids. All great games. Missile Command.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's really hard to go bad with any of those, in my opinion.
You know,
so many great classic
maybe we'll
games.
talk about what's not as common. I grew up playing games like Omega Race and
Yes.
Star Castle. We had a Cinestar. We always had fun playing it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun game. My very first game I ever had was a pole position.
Mm-hmm.
So that might help a little bit. But yeah, there's pretty much not any that we don't enjoy. Problem is, I stink at playing most of them.
Right, exactly.
I can fix just about all of them, and I'm horrible at it. The only game I think I'm halfway decent at, for whatever reason, is Gyrush. Because when everybody else was playing all the new games, nobody seemed to play that one, and I could go over there, and I didn't have to wait in line. And I actually got pretty good at that game. But you know, I'm just not very good.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I'm mediocre at best. Is that a good way to say it?
Especially like games like Defender and stuff.
Right.
I'm just horrible at them.
Sure. So, well,
But
there
I
you go.
enjoy 'em.
Hopefully that answers the question there. Let's see. Tim, what vintage game gets the most play? So, like, let's say you have a group of vintage games. Which one would get the most
Or
play?
even back in
back in the day.
Back in the day, of course, I worked in an arcade as a young kid. You know, it always depended on what the latest game was. And just like today, you know, you had a new game, everybody kind of wanted to attract to it. But pound for pound, a Miss Pac-Man seems to still make money in a lot of places. It probably regularly earned, on average, just about beat every game that I remember. Now, of course, if something was new, it would beat it for a while. But eventually, anything that was over a year old, Miss Pac-Man still seemed to hold and play. That would probably be my choice.
You know something else I was thinking of? Wizard of War.
Oh, yeah.
Love that game.
We
If
loved it because we could play two-player. And
Right.
we had our little stations where we'd get in and get back-to-back. Oh, yeah.
Kicks.
Kicks was fun. We had a lot of fun playing Kicks. And there's hardly any vintage game that we haven't played and enjoyed. We really like them all. But I remember just from pure numbers, I used to have to take the meters and count the coins. Even a Miss Pac would always have quite a bit in it, even after it'd been on the route for a long time. So I would say Miss Pac was probably one of the highest earners ever, especially over time.
There you go. Okay, so hopefully answers that question. I'll move on to Donnie. Talk to you about my Area 51 board. Hooked it up and black screen, but you hear the hard drive working and see the board powered up. Could it be a hard drive issue or power supply? Yes to both.
Yeah.
Hard drive issues, even though the game comes on sometimes, Tim, doesn't necessarily mean that the hard drive is good.
Right.
We've had that happen before where it doesn't load. But it could also be a power supply. Area 51, a lot of light games are very picky about voltage.
Right.
Very picky.
If you measure your voltage and everything's good, then you know it's not the power supply. It shouldn't take long to determine if it's working or not. But you're right, the hard drive can be tricky. But usually, John, you always would teach me, you taught me more about hard drives coming in your era than mine, was you could feel it or hear it spin at certain times and feel the vibration.
Right.
But even then, you know, it's like you don't know.
If you're not hearing the grind at all, I mean, because it'll spin, even a bad hard drive a lot of times will spin up,
Okay.
but you won't hear the grind.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that hard drive specifically has a nice grind to you.
That would probably be why I remember seeing a tech work on one with a stethoscope on before. He
There you
was
go.
actually listening for stuff going on in there, and I thought that was kind of strange at the time. But
So, yeah, it's not uncommon for it to spin up properly, so it can get power, it spins up, but you may not hear the grinding of the actual drives where they're actually spinning and it's actually reading the data off of them. And those hard drives, you really hear it. In newer hard drives, you barely hear that.
Okay.
I mean, it's very rare, but in old hard drives, you definitely heard it.
Okay.
I mean, it was very specific. So make sure that even if it spins up, make sure that it does grind out. And Tim, we got some thunderstorms coming through.
if y'all heard that, it kind of shook the
shook
house right
the
here.
room a little bit. So, but yeah, that's what you want to check out. Make sure that hard drive not only spins up, but also grinds a little bit. Make sure that you're getting that loading process started. And Tim, it could also have bad sectors to where it reads a little bit, but it can't read the whole thing.
Could be.
So, I mean, we've seen all of that. So here we go. So, Danny, hopefully answers your question. So we'll move on here. Now, Eric put his new channel there.
Oh, good.
So he's got 4
Thank you,
videos
Eric.
up there on Arcade Repair, so we highly recommend that you check him out. Again, Eric is a contributor for Arcade Repair Tips, so we want to thank him for doing that. Let's see. Super fun and totally unappreciated game, Pigskin 621 AD. I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen one.
I have never seen that.
That's in real life. So there you go. Underrated games.
Okay.
Eric says, do you remember any of the games from Extra Play in Ruston?
Oh gosh, Eric, I think a lot of those that, if you don't know, Eric lives about 3 hours south of me, but we grew up in the same area of North Louisiana, and we don't remember each other as teenagers, but we hung out at the same arcade.
Right.
And so that's always cool. I want to say that it was the Star Castle or the Omega Race, Eric, you might can help me there, that I really played a lot. It seemed like I played Asteroids there, that era of games, those vector games.
Those early vectors.
Seems like they had some vectors all on the little half wall or something, and I always was, every time I went, it seemed like my arcade, it's like they were, my arcade had the newer games, but I didn't get to play a lot of those games before, so I was always going to extra play and playing those, some kind of Grand Prix racing game. A stretch in my memory, though. You know, it wasn't yesterday. It was a few years back. But
there you go.
I do. It seems like either a Star Castle or an Omega Race. Eric, you might help me out there. I remember really pumping some quarters into that thing.
There you go. X51 says, can I play Street Fighter 2 on my Neo Geo somehow? I'm a noob, but I'm excited to learn. Well, Tim, that would be a little tricky. Because Street Fighter 2 is a standalone board, of course. Neo Geo is a cartridge-based board.
Right.
And the pinouts for Neo Geo JAMA are slightly different than the pinouts for Street Fighter JAMA. And Street Fighter JAMA requires a kick harness.
Right.
So yes, I mean...
It's possible.
It's possible, but what you'd have to do is you'd have to wire the kick harness and then maybe disconnect some wires on the Neo Geo. Now, Tim, there is an adapter that will take a Neo Geo and convert it to a standard JAMA.
Well, there you go.
So if you did that and then wired in the kick harness, you could probably do it. Now, if you're new, 51, if you're new, you're probably wondering, what's a kick harness? Right? A kick harness is an extra harness that goes along with the JAMA connector to give you extra buttons a lot of times.
Right.
And so Street Fighter 2 used a kick harness, so it had a JAMA connector, plus it had an additional connector for the kick buttons, which is why it's called a kick harness. Is because that was for the kick buttons on the game. And so that's where the term comes from. A lot of people don't realize that. But you would need to wire up...
because you kicked it.
There you go. Well, another thing is Neo Geo only has 4 buttons.
Right.
So you'd have to add 2 buttons, and then you'd also have to, like we mentioned, wire in the kick harness as well.
Yeah, so we're basically saying, is it possible? Yes. Is it really probable? It really wouldn't be.
It'd be tough.
Yeah, why not have a... separate game.
Well, if you only have one cabinet, Tim, and you're trying to get everything, I understand that. Tim, maybe the solution is to add a second row of 4 buttons below where your first row of 4 buttons is, and then wire those up to the kick harness.
Yeah.
And if you did that, you could get it done. But, it's a little bit trickier than just... You need the adapter, and then you need to wire up the kick harness.
Especially if you're new, this would be a little bit more intermediate.
It's just wiring, but you really have to be familiar with wiring in order to do it.
Right.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say difficult, but intermediate level, I would say. Sure. So there you go. Let's see what else we got here. My favorite has got to be between Centipede and Burger Time.
Okay.
And that was from JR's Vintage Toys and More, who also asked the question. Iceman says, what kind of lubrication is the best for a Nintendo 4-way joystick?
Okay. Usually on any kind of joystick, everybody wants to say WD-40 and stuff. Remember, WD-40 is a cleaner.
Right.
And it's not necessarily made for that. A little bit of 3-in-1 oil, to me, works the best. Or some white lithium grease, just a little bit. Don't overdo it with your finger or a cotton tip. Kind of get a little bit up in there. That should work out just fine. But that does create a little bit of dirty. Grease gets really dirty and black after a while. I do recommend the 3-in-1 oil, just a few drops. And
a lot of people, Tim, have been asking how to lubricate the trackballs on their Arcade 1-Up cabinets, and I would recommend the same thing.
That's what I do. Put the 3-in-1 oil in there and just kind of let it roll around. We've had good success with that. You also might want to look at a dry lubricant. You can buy that like at Granger or most places. Look for a lubricant just as dry lubricant, and it's a spray bottle, and that will sometimes work without making such a mess.
There you go. So great tips. Thank you for that, Tim. And
no charge extra.
There you go. Let's see. I'm sure Iceman appreciates that. So Eric comes back. That was Michelle's. Tim. That was Michelle's before it was extra play.
Okay, maybe so.
So there you go. Edward says a drop of 3-in-1 oil. He recommends the same thing that you did. It's what we like. Tom says, I'd like to put a 60-in-1 in a Donkey Kong cabinet, but I don't want to change the control panel. What games won't I be able to play with the Donkey Kong control panel? Well, Tim, the Donkey Kong control panel only has 1 button.
Right.
So only 1-button games would be possible. Now, you could play all of them, but which one will they play correctly? Yes or no. Now, Tim, one of the things that we do on the Pac-Man cabinets is that we wire up the player 1 and player 2 start buttons to also be action buttons.
Right.
So you could do that. Let's see, that was from Tom. You could do that, Tom, as well. You could wire up the 1 and 2 player start buttons as the action buttons as well.
Yeah, it just wouldn't feel right, though, kind of up
it'd be
there.
a little bit higher. So that would be kind of the alternative to that. As far as one-button games, though, most of them are one-button games.
Right.
Kicks, though, you couldn't play kicks.
This is why
couldn't play Super Cobra properly.
This is why we highly recommend building a 60-in-1 cabinet like we showed.
Like the cocktail cabinet.
For the price, it's really not that bad. Leave your Donkey Kong, original Donkey Kong. You go to sell it, it's going to be worth more as a Donkey Kong that hadn't been extra buttoned and hacked up. And then have you a JAMA cabinet or buy one of those kits for your 60-in-1 games.
Yeah, so the Holland Computers cocktail kit, Tim, that we did the video on, assembling a cocktail kit, that is a very nice kit. You can get on sale a lot of times, especially around the holidays. They'll be running sales on them pretty soon. And you can get them for, like, what is it, $700? Basically complete.
Sometimes cheaper than that at Walmart.com.
Yeah.
They'll have a sale or something or a special
or
deal.
eBay. Sometimes eBay runs them. So if you want to do that, yes, it's possible to do that. The only games you can play would be the one-button games. And so... luckily, the vast majority of games on 60-in-1 board are one button, but there would be some games that would not work properly. You could wire up the 1 and 2 player start buttons to the button 2 and 3 if you wanted to. That would be a way to get around that. So, okay, let's see what else we have. Jason says it's after 84, but he loves Assault. And I saw an Assault at the Houston Arcade and Pinball Expo. Worked the first day I got there. Did not work the days after. It was out of sync. Had a little sync issue. So, but I did get to play it. It is a kind of a funky, cool game. So
yeah, it is.
Let's see what else here. Are we going through? It says if you look at the back of the control panel on Donkey Kong, there's another action button hole.
Okay.
The only thing is that will require you punching through that overlay.
Right.
Which you may or may not want to do. So it may be good to take off the overlay if you're going to use that extra action button hole.
Maybe so.
So it really depends. And that's probably because Donkey Kong cabinets, they used a lot of different games in
I totally forgot about that, so thank you for that.
That was from Jason. Let's see. Jason, yeah, I like the control panel the way it is. And yeah, if you want to keep the control panel the way it is, Tom, then you're going to have to use probably the start buttons as the action buttons.
Yeah.
So, cool hat. There you go, Cappy. So actually, okay, Tim, quick story on Cappy. So, I wore a Mario costume for Halloween. That's where this came from. And we were going home after we have like a big festival at our church. And so I was dressed up. I did not have my Mario costume on, but I had Cappy on still.
Okay.
And so we went through a restaurant, like a drive-thru, to get some dinner. And I order at the little speaker. We get up to the pay window, and the girl just no-sells it. Like, I'm not even wearing the hat.
Right.
Okay, and so, like, before I get there, I asked my daughter, you think anybody will notice the hat? And she's like, I don't know. And so the first lady, like, totally, like, no way. Didn't even notice that I was wearing a big hat.
But this was on Halloween.
No, it wasn't.
Close to Halloween.
Exactly. It was the weekend before Halloween. Okay, so I get up to the window where you get your food, right? And so I asked my daughter, you think she's gonna... And he's like, I don't know. So she gives me my food, and the girl, probably early 20s, right. She goes... Cappy!
Oh,
she
wow.
recognized, and she's like, I love Super Mario Odyssey.
Wow.
And it is a great game if you haven't played it. So she recognized that it was Cappy. If you haven't played Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch, you need to play it. Great game. Okay. So quick story. John says, I have some inherent hum in the speakers of my Spy Hunter cockpit machine. Any ideas? So Spy Hunter cockpit.
Okay.
Little hum. Intermittent.
A little hum.
Not all the time.
Well, it's funny because I don't remember Spy Hunter having specific problems with that. I mean, but the speaker is getting old, so you should test it, make sure you're still not got any bad wiring or soldering joints or anything like that there. Ohm it out and make sure it's reading high enough ohms. We don't ever want to forget the fact that it could just be a bad speaker is getting old, or coins or something will get down in there.
Right.
So check that out really good. After that, there should be a potentiometer down there somewhere. Those tend to go back and will cause hum. And then, in the case like a Miss Pac-Man, the fuse box actually can cause...
Or grounding issues.
The hum.
Right.
But that's probably what it is. It's not so much the fuse box as it is the grounds. So make sure that your grounds are good all throughout your game and try that. It could just be time to replace your speakers, though.
There you go. Okay, X51 says, how did you guys learn how to do this back in the day, before the internet? Is there a certain book that everybody refers to? Yes, there is. The book.
Right. It is the
by
book.
Atari.
And
so
I'll tell you the story, honestly. When we first, my friend, a guy that I worked for, opened an arcade, we had no idea how to fix them. So we called up manufacturers like Atari, and they said, well, we will send you this book, and it will show you. In that book was very simple. It talked about how to solder wires. It was a kind of a...
From nothing.
Yeah, beginner's guide to working on arcade games. So you ever get a chance to download that or to purchase one, look for something called The Book by Atari, and that is exactly how we did it. And then we would go to Radio Shack and get parts. We learned how to solder by reading that book.
So, and we also have a copy of the book.
No YouTube videos.
That's right. We also have a copy of the book on our website. I believe the post is recommended books for arcade repair. If you check out that post, you'll find it. Tim, I don't recommend printing it out because it's like 100 and something pages.
It's
right?
thick.
Yeah, so if you're going to print it out, you're going to be using a lot of toner, a lot of paper.
Yeah,
so.
take it to Kinko's and make them do it. Or let them do it and pay for it.
Right, exactly. But
if you ever get a hold of a copy, they are like gold. So try
Absolutely.
to get one. You might check with the old arcade operators in your area. They'd probably give you one if they still have one. So.
Sure. So there you go. It teaches you everything you need to know about learning.
It really
arcade
did.
repair.
Really helped us. And we,
On
like
the early
you said,
games, for sure.
We did not know anything, and this is how I learned my first lessons in how to fix games was by reading that book and then just getting my hands dirty and trying it.
There you go. So, JR's, I'm working on restoring a Burger Time dedicated cabinet. I was wondering if there's a way to save the original paint that's underneath the black latex painted over the original Burger Time art. Yes.
Yes, we talked about this.
Citrus strip.
Yeah, citrus strip.
And a lot of elbow grease.
Yes.
So you can use citrus strip. Citrus strip is a paint removing compound, Tim, that you put on stuff, and it works. Okay, and it will not take off the paint underneath. It will leave it intact, but it takes a lot of work to get it off. And it really depends on how long the paint's been on there, how old the paint is that's covering that artwork.
If it's latex or...
Right, it is latex, he said. It's a latex
okay.
paint, so it won't be as hard.
Shouldn't be.
Right, but it'll take a lot of elbow grease on your part.
Sometimes if you can get latex to kind of start peeling, you can almost peel it off like a sticker.
Right.
But not always is the case.
Citrus strip. Citrus strip's what you want to use. And then Edward, he liked the game Chiller. Love Chiller.
Oh yeah, Chiller's awesome.
Chiller's a really cool game if you haven't played it before.
We'd never played Chiller in the wild before till we got to playing it MAME, and we loved to play Chiller. It was fun.
The thing is, though, MAME's not really the way to play it because you're supposed to have, I think, a gun, right?
I don't remember. I never played it.
Because, with MAME, you have to use the trackball to kind of roll things around. But I think in the original game, you had a gun, if I remember correctly. So,
I don't know. It was fun, though. We like Chiller. Fun.
So it's kind of a, I'm trying to think of like a game. It's like find the hidden puzzle or hidden pieces or whatever you want to say.
You turn stuff and unlock stuff. If you've never played Chiller and you have MAME, you need to check it out.
There you go. So we're caught up.
Okay,
and that's cool because we have something down here.
Okay.
Okay, that we're going to talk
about. Is that next, or we got a question?
That is next. We're going to do the question because the question leads into the box.
Ah, okay.
So here we go.
So what's in the box?
You can go ahead and grab the box real quick. We're not getting the box yet, but you can pull it up here. I'm going to read the question. It is from ES, because that's the only name that they really gave us here. So ES says, hello, I've got a Midway cocktail table, and I was wanting to turn it into a multicade, but I'm new to repairs. I was hoping to find out what items I need to change it. Any help would be appreciated. Thanks. So ignore the box for now. It's not really here, Tim. We're going to answer the question first. But Tim, we have ES here, and he's got a Midway cocktail table. He wants to convert it to a multi-K. Now, he doesn't specifically say a 60-in-1, Tim, but a lot of times that's what we usually go with. So what do you think, what does ES need to do here in order to convert this Midway cocktail table into a multi-K?
Well, one thing you don't want to do is plug your board straight in because it was wired differently and it's not JAMA wired. So you're going to need a JAMA wiring harness, a multi-K board of some sort, and probably a switching power supply to do the conversion. Basically, you need to gut what's in there and kind of start over with all the wiring and the power supply and stuff in there.
Right. So, I mean, and that's basically... Now,
and
Tim...
also, he only has a two-way joystick.
Well, he may.
May.
So, some of the Midway games only had a two-way toggle. So, if you have a Galaxian, a Galaga, you may have to replace the joystick because those two-way joysticks only work for certain games.
Right. Or it could be a Miss Pac-Man that already has a four-way in there. But you may think about that also.
Right, so there you go. So, yes, let me go ahead and put the slide up here for you so we can summarize that information. If your Midway cocktail cabinet is complete and working, you should only need a JAMA wiring harness, a multicade board, such as the 60-in-1 board, and a switching power supply to convert it. Now, this is assuming that your cabinet currently has a 4-way joystick and 2 buttons.
Right.
Because you need at least 2 buttons really to experience most of the games on the 60-in-1. If not, you'll need these as well. For example, if your cocktail is a Galaxian or Galaga, has the toggle style control, you'll need to get a 4-way joystick to replace that. Now, Tim, you may be wondering, how does this box come into play?
Right.
Okay, like I've got a box here. Okay, so here's the
box?
thing. We're calling it the mystery box.
Okay.
So this mystery box is from Don.
Okay.
Okay, so we answered a question from Don on episode 19 regarding his Galaga cocktail that he wanted to convert, Tim.
He did.
Just like ES did. And so we asked a question about the 2-way to 4-way. So he had to put new joysticks in because he only had the 2-way toggles in his Galaga. But guess what? He got it working.
That's right.
Because we helped him, of course.
Right.
Okay, so we helped him, and he converted his Galaga to a multicade.
He did just what we talked about. He gutted it.
The same thing that ES needs to do to his in order to get it working, okay? He gutted it, put a new harness in there, put new joysticks in there, put a new power supply, and then put a 61 board, and now it is working fine. Well, Don was like, I've got all these old parts that I'm not going to do anything with. So, do you want them? I was like, sure. How much I owe you for shipping? Whatever. He's like, no, free.
Okay.
So
we can't beat the free.
Exactly. So I have a box from Don who
Okay.
did exactly what ES is talking about doing. And
So-
Tim, I have not opened this box. I have no idea what's in this thing. Hopefully it's not a snake.
Okay.
Like we talked about before or whatever. So I am literally
I'm kind
going
of
to
hoping
open
Don's
this.
not the Unabomber or something.
I'm telling you, or has, I don't think so. Who hooked this guy?
All
Remember?
right.
I mean, it's not. So,
Well, you know.
and he asked me if I'd opened it yet, and I said no, but I said we're planning to do it tonight. So, you see, isn't this riveting? Riveting television here, guys. Ugh. Okay. Look at this. Oh man, it looks like he packed it well too.
He did.
I actually see.
So now, ES,
bubble
pay
wrap.
attention. You're going to see some of the stuff you're going to need to pull
cabinet.
out of your game.
Exactly. This is some of the stuff that is in your cabinet right now. So, okay, you want to throw those? You can just throw
That's a
those
bubble
around.
wrap.
Okay, so check this out. That looks like a. I'm not sure. That looks like a power. I think that's the power board. So you can look at that. Check these out.
Oh, wow.
Got the control panels. Thank you, Don.
Wow, Don, thank you.
So we got some control panels.
We're going to build us a game.
I'm telling you, there's another one. Got the harness.
Okay.
So I got the... Oh! No way.
Wow. The manual. How
Speaking
cool.
of manuals. So, okay, so we got that. Let's see what else we got in here.
This is a Galaga?
It was a Galaga. And this
I
is the
need a
board set.
Galaga.
Oh, here's the board set right here.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. And it looks like it was repaired 8/31 of some year.
Okay.
So there you go. So, and then it has, let's see, preset free play on. So these are ROM chips probably with the free play stuff. And then even the transformer.
Okay.
So there we go. So Don, thank you very much. So these are some of the parts that you're going to find in your Galaga cabinet right now.
So to give you an idea, this
Right.
is what you're going to need to
So
do.
this is our Galaga power board here. We've got our control panels. We've got our regular board. We've got the harness. But Don was kind enough to send this to us and rip it all out of his game because we helped him out. So thank you very much, Don, for this. We will put it to good use.
Yes, we will.
So absolutely. So there you go.
I may just
I'll put it
build
on there.
one and put it at Gatti's.
So there you go. If you need a multi cocktail, those are. Hey, he sent the control panels. He must have got the new control panels.
Yeah.
You know?
So I need a cabinet if anybody
Right.
has one
So
for sale.
instead of changing out the joysticks, there are companies. I think Arcade Shop, Tim, that makes a pre-made control panel for those cabinets.
Right.
So you don't necessarily have to hack that control panel all up. You just order a new one with the joysticks and buttons already on it.
Anyway.
And that may have been what Don did in this case. But thank you, Don, for sending us some parts. We always like parts.
We like free stuff.
Oh, we love free stuff.
Free
because
stuff
we're
is
cheap.
awesome. Yeah, we are CAGs.
That's right. Very cheap. So, but thank you, Don, for all of that great stuff, including the manual. He didn't have to send the manual.
No,
that
thank
was
you,
very
Don.
nice. So
It will go to a good home, and we will make sure that it comes. Galaga gets restored somewhere.
That's right. Exactly.
Maybe it's a stand up or whatever, but we'll take care. Make good use of it.
There we go. So thank you, Don, for the wonderful gift. We really appreciate it. So, Tim, I'm going to go back over to the chat
right.
here for a second. Let's see. Danny says, could weak power supply cause an Area 51 board with hard drive not to load up?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I will just say that right off. Michael says, arcades are still huge in Japan, but not nearly so in America anymore. What do you think happened to American audiences? Well, Tim, I think that that's a misnomer.
All right.
I think that the arcade here is stronger than ever now.
Yeah, I think it has made a comeback over the last few years.
Right.
Especially with the barcades and those type of... the venue has changed. They're not always at the mall, or standalone arcades are different. You don't find as many... They have a hook, or like at Mr. Gatti's where you have pizza and stuff like that, or Chuck E. Cheese. So they're still around, but I know what he's saying, that they probably the nostalgia or the classic arcade games, but we're finding them popping up all over the place, and the prices of them have gone up too. So
Absolutely.
Good to be a collector, especially if you need to sell these days.
There you go. So I think what happened, though, why we saw a lull there for a little bit, was because we started to see the same arcade games at home. Like the quality arcade of games at home got way better than arcade, and so people would rather just stay home, play their console games than go to the arcade. Once the consoles cross that divide into just as good or better than arcade games, I think is when we start to see the drop.
Think about Pac-Man on the 2600 versus Pac-Man in person.
Sure.
But then by the time the 5200 come out, or the 7800, you literally could not tell the difference. So I think that era kind of had a lull and kind of went, maybe, and people thought it was just a fad, but then as gamers, then new games come out. And so as long as new games are being produced, stuff like WWEs and stuff we could have bought for $25 10 years ago are now the new classics.
Right.
So look for those games that are going to be classic to what may not be your era is going to become somebody else's era. And as those do, the popularity, even in old school, I think it's neat to have old school games around. There's plenty of places around, especially big metropolitan areas, to play them.
Absolutely. And Tim, I think another thing that kind of helped with the decline in the early 2000s of arcades was online play. Because now you could get competitive head-to-head play without having to go to a public place. And I think that also contributed to that. But we've definitely seen a comeback in the last 5 to 10 years, Tim. There's no doubt.
Right.
So.
But you come to our arcade and you play games like Cruisin' Blast and stuff like that.
The new Halo Firestorm.
The new Halo Firestorm. We'll take some video of that pretty soon. You'll see that they're definitely making a comeback, and people are noticing, yeah, you can go play Halo on your thing, but you can't play it with 4 friends with a big gun.
Right.
So there is still need for arcade games. We just had to change the way they've gotten bigger. The world's largest Pac-Man, Space Invader games, stuff like that. Still the same old game, but it's way bigger, a little better. LCD quality and stuff like that has taken over. So just the environment's had to change and adapt a little bit.
There we go. Let's see. Computers happen. Somebody said, that's an easy way to say it too.
Right.
I think that definitely contributed. Oh, YouTube Punk, I have arrived. What did I miss? And of course, he made a generous donation. Thank you, YouTube Punk. And remember that you can also make a generous donation by hitting the little $sign down there, Tim. We always like that.
That's even better than free stuff.
That's right, exactly. So.
That's it.
James says, do a barrel roll. So there you go. YouTube Punk is here. Let's see. Japan has consoles too, and that is correct. Yeah,
that's true.
So Japan does, but for some reason, gaming in Japan is very social. Like people like to get out in game.
Yeah,
it seems like, and that's part of the reason I don't think we saw that same dip that we saw here. Because people like to be at places, even when they play like online PC games. People in Japan go places. They don't play them at their house a lot of times.
Yeah,
and so I think that's what. Their element of social gaming was different. And now, though, like I said, we've really seen a resurgent comeback in the last decade. I mean, it's amazing how things have changed. So.
Right. And it seemed like standalone arcades work better there than they do here.
Yeah.
Now, here you got to have a hook. You got to have something else.
Right, and I think that's because, like I said, just the social aspect of gaming is... over there, that's the way they game.
Yeah.
Is in social places. You know what I'm saying?
You got to have beer here to get people to be social.
Or pizza.
Yeah.
That's right. You got to have something else.
Both.
So, right.
So,
exactly.
yeah. It seems like that makes people more social. They want to eat and talk.
Exactly.
Instead of just talk.
There you go. Okay, Tim, our last question of the night comes from Daniel. And Daniel says, hello, I got a Pac-Man from someone that said it didn't work. So I messed around with it and found that the sound works and you can play the game, but there's no picture at all. Also, there's no net glow on the monitor. So when I need a new monitor for it, I am located in Indiana. So Tim, and he sent some pictures, and you know what? It looks very familiar.
It does.
Almost like we might have one sitting here in the room with us.
Maybe so.
So now this one looks maybe a little bit more beat up than mine. I think mine was very well taken care of. But Tim, it looks like he's got a Pac-Man cabaret here, right?
Right.
Is what we're looking at. So Tim, obviously he's saying that he hears sounds. So we're getting some sounds from it, but we're not getting any picture on the screen. What do you think's going on with Daniel's Pac-Man cabaret?
Well, it's a classic example of what we call game playing blind.
Absolutely.
You know, the no lights or anything, but you're hearing sound. You're not seeing anything on the monitor. So what you need to do is, yes, we need to make sure, though, that the monitor is connected and that all the wiring and everything to it is good, that you are getting power up to your monitor. AC power has to be plugged in, and it has to have power in order to work. After that, then you need to look at our video on games that are troubleshooting blind. There is a list of things that it could be all of those things, but those are all things that we have a video on how to repair. So make sure and check that out. We can check and we can go through those things. But most of the guys here already know what we're talking about. But, you know, if you need further help, just let us know.
There you go. And I'll go ahead and put up the slide here, Tim, with that information. Based on your description, it sounds like your Pac-Man Cabaret is playing blind. This is a moniker we use when you can hear the game playing, but nothing comes up on the screen. In most cases, this is due to an issue with the monitor chassis. So your options at this point are to either fix the chassis or replace it. If you'd like to go the fix-it route, you can check out our post on troubleshooting games that are playing blind, just like Tim mentioned, for more information. Or you can try to replace it, but Tim, finding a replacement LCD for a 13-inch CRT may be troublesome.
Right.
Because remember, it's a 13-inch CRT that's in that cabinet. And so more than likely you can find something that'll fit, but you may have to rig it just right in order to get in there, I'd say. So I think that answers the question, though. It does sound like a classic case of playing blind, like you mentioned.
It does sound like it.
So there you go. Okay, Tim. Let's before we get into the your tech tip for this for this episode, let's go ahead and go back to the chat. Have you guys ever played Tetris Effect? I don't think so.
No.
So might have to check that out. I don't know. I like Tetris though.
Oh,
so there you go. James says, I want to make a fix-it. Felix, what's your take on making one? New custom build? Use a hacked-up DK cab? Sega Genesis or main PC? So, if we were going to do it, brand new cab.
Yes.
You don't ever want to tear apart Donkey Kong unless the Donkey Kong's already torn apart.
Right.
Okay, like if all you got, I was about to say, if all you got's a cabinet, okay, if it's a Donkey Kong, all you got's the cabinet, then I say go ahead and take it down. But if you have most of the parts to make a working Donkey Kong, keep it a Donkey Kong. But there are, Tim, kits and things you can get that'll mimic that cabinet precisely, or you can build one yourself.
Right.
Okay. But we don't recommend tearing apart a classic to build something else. In a lot of cases, we want to keep things as original as possible. And so he says, use a hacked up DK cab, obviously not. Sega Genesis or main PC, probably main. Yeah. And the reason why is because you have more control over things than you do with the Sega Genesis. That's the only reason. But I mean, Sega Genesis route would probably be cheaper because you can get the hack cart for a lot cheaper. But you know, if you throw a main PC in there, put the game on there, I mean, it should play pretty fine. Plus, you've already got keyboard encoders and things that will interface with the controls. Right. If you're going to do the Sega Genesis, you'd have to hack up probably a controller in order to map all the controls correctly. That's just a big pain for us. We'd rather just use a keyboard encoder.
Yep.
So like the iPac, a Key Whiz, something like that. So, okay. Did we answer that?
I think so.
Sounds good.
Time for a tech tip?
Yep, time for your tech tip, Tim. So what's your tech tip about?
Well, this one is going to seem really simple. In fact, you might just go, duh. But let's talk about this for just a minute, about using a cell phone to fix games.
Okay. You want me to throw up the slide?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and talk it about.
Okay.
You know, I can't tell you how many times now, Jonathan, that just remembering like where the yoke wires are, remembering how stuff was wired up, make sure and take plenty of pictures as you're working or video it so that you can go back and document. And if you have to go back or you have to fix something, that's one thing that we really don't talk about a lot, and it seems kind of simple. But guys, if you have a cell phone, that has really become one of my favorite ways. Or I take a picture of an area, I can blow it up without having to have
the
USB microscope. I also have an app on my phone that's a magnifying app. I can blow it up really big and it'll make it clear. So I use that, taking pictures, and I use that app So those are good things. But something that this may be the tip that a lot of people may not understand. When you look through your camera on a cell phone, it can see the ultraviolet lights and stuff that you can't with your naked eye.
Right, infrared.
That's what I meant.
Correct.
Yeah, infrared, ultraviolet lights that you cannot see with your naked eye. So here's where I used to use it, like on skee-ball lanes that had sensors where that would count the scoring. You can actually, they have a male and a female. You could actually look through your cell phone and you'll see that light beam going across there. And if you break it with your hand, you'll see it kind of go away and stuff. So that's one way that you can use them. But also, we get a lot of questions about light guns, and if they're working, you can see that ray on some light guns like that too.
Right, I think one of the Jurassic Park games uses infrared guns.
Yes.
And so some of the light gun games that you have, they actually use the infrared beam instead of like a standard optical just sensor.
Right.
Depending on what the game is. And so, yeah, but even with optical sensors a lot of times, if you point the end of the gun at the camera,
it'll shine real bright.
Right.
Like a white light.
Exactly.
You'll see that,
right.
And that will help you. So, guys, it may seem really simple, but using a cell phone today is almost a necessity. And if you didn't know that, try looking at sensors or something with your cell phone. It will pick up stuff that you can't necessarily see with your eyes.
And Tim, one of the things I did see was that you may want to get an infrared filter, which basically filters out everything but the infrared. And you just place a filter over your camera lens on the back of your phone, and then it'll only pick up the ultraviolet light.
And so
and the
this
infrared
is something I'd like to throw to the chat room. There's also a lot of apps that you can do, like heat sensors and stuff. Right. That might help you find on a board or something. If there's an app that you use to repair games on your cell phone, or just looking up manuals and stuff on the fly without having to have the manual on you, getting on the internet, of course. But maybe there's an app that you like and you use. Maybe when we post this later, guys, please comment below and share that. It might be something that somebody else would use or could help.
There you go. So I think it's an interesting tip. Of course, everybody knows we need to take pictures, but I think the infrared stuff's really neat. I did not realize that before you told me, like with the skee-ball lanes and stuff like that. And then, of course, there are also, like you mentioned, there are also like thermal type stuff that will pick up heat and stuff in certain areas, which can help with board troubleshooting as well. A lot of times, if you have chips that are generating heat on your board, Tim, they're probably malfunctioning. So it's something to keep in mind.
So who would have thought? Modern technology can definitely help us fix old school games.
There you go. So, okay, Tim, we got one question in the chat. Oh, somebody says, is hyperspin still a pain? That was YouTube Punk. As far as I know, it's difficult, not impossible to set up. For you guys who don't know, hyperspin is the front end that's used in a lot of main builds. It's a very impressive front end, does some really cool stuff, but it can be a little difficult to set up. It's not terrible to set up, Tim, but it can be a challenge, so you need to be careful with that. Okay, Fox says, hey, you guys, my Galahad Cabaret will coin up when the test switch is turned on. The 2 coin switches won't work either. Let's see. Okay, it sounds like nothing's working. Okay, just from his thing. Game works great, but could it be swap pins on the wiring harness? Thanks. So it will coin up when the test switch is turned on. The 2 coin switches won't work either. I'm thinking he's saying that it kind of sounds like none of them.
In the test switch it works?
Oh, this is a Galaga.
Okay.
It's Galaga. So, he's saying that Cabaret will coin up when the test switch is turned on.
Like he goes to the test.
Won't work.
Yeah, he turns on the test and it shows that it's working.
Right, but when he goes to the game, it's not coining up.
Okay.
Now that could be a setting in the dip switches. It could depend. Yeah, it could depend on how you have your dip switches set. So
sometimes I've thought that, and it'd be like set on 8 coins or something, and you think that you're hitting it one time, it should coin up. Well, make sure that your dip switch settings are set correctly.
1 coin, 1 play, typically.
Right.
Right, exactly. 1 coin, 1 play is typically what you want to have. If you 2 coins, 1 play, Tim, right. 50 cents or 25 cents, depending. Usually is how we usually designate those. But make sure that those dip switches are set as well, because that can also cause issues. Tim, you can also test your coin switches with a multimeter to make sure that connection is being made.
It could just be that when you're testing it, do it the same way. For instance, when you're in test mode, a lot of times I would use my finger, and it would work and work and work. Then I'd get out of test mode, and I'd shut the door, lock it, and I'd put a coin in, it wouldn't work. Well, it may be that the coin switch needs a little bit of adjustment. Then watch it and see if that's the case.
Oh, it doesn't go into test mode. That's what he says. So another thing is that, Tim, I just thought about, make sure that you have it wired correctly. Yeah. Make sure that you have...
He asked that question, and could it be a wire out of place? That is very possible, especially if somebody's worked on it before and it's always been like that. So,
well, he's saying the test mode switch doesn't work. It could be possible that he's got the coin switch in the normally closed position to where that's always closed instead of normally open, and that could be holding up the game from going into test mode because that's always being stomped down. So you want to make sure that you have your wires on the very bottom one, the one that's all by itself, that's the ground, and then the one right next to it is the one you want. That's the normally open, not the top one. The top one is the normally closed, which means that it's always closed. So make sure that you have your coin door wires, again, on the one by itself, the ground, and the one right above that on the normally open. Tim, there's probably a coin switch on the other side of this thing if you wanted to show them.
Right, and make sure also that your ground wire is hooked up.
Right, exactly.
It's not undone somewhere, a daisy chain problem.
But if you've got it wired incorrectly with the normally closed, you may still see it work in the test mode.
Right.
Because it would still, like when you hit it, it'll still trigger a test mode response, but it may be holding that down, it may be causing issues with you being able to press the test mode button.
Right.
So there you go. So make sure that,
the game would think something was wrong with the switch.
It'd be a lockout.
And
like
a lockout.
Correct.
Instead of giving 1,000 credits or something, you know.
Right, it'll lock out the game to keep it from giving all those
That
credits.
could definitely be the problem. And if you don't understand that, ask us some more questions or we can demonstrate that.
If you want to look around there may be, I was about to say, there may be a button switch over here. So we can look real quick.
Everything.
So I don't know. This is riveting television now. Tim rifling through stuff to see if we got a button switch. I think I may have one in my toolbox here. You got to come back here though.
Okay.
So, I'll look real quick.
I'll just sit here and
look.
I'll check the chat room here.
Here we go.
Oh, he says it doesn't go into test mode.
Correct.
So, okay. See if we can show the up close.
Give it a
let it focus.
It's pretty good. I mean, you can kind of see.
You see the 3 wires. The bottom one, of course, being the common.
There it goes.
Then the next one closest to it. Those are the 2 wires it needs to be hooked up to. If it's hooked up to this top one and the bottom one, then it's going to give you problems like that. That's one thing that you can check. And let us know if you want to go check that real quick. We can come back to you.
There you go. So, okay. Well, Tim, I think we're going to go on here.
Same problem could be with his test mode switch.
Right. So I'm going to talk about my latest pickup. I picked up a game.
Okay.
Okay. And I sent you a text.
You did?
Yeah, I sent you a text and said, I forgot what the text said.
You bought one from a rapper.
A Christian. What if I told you that I bought an arcade game from a Christian rapper?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. Let's talk about the arcade game that I picked up. I picked up a used Soul Edge. Okay,
nice.
So I picked it up for $300.
Wow, where is
Tim,
it?
It's out in the carport getting rained on. No, I'm just kidding. So it's not getting rained on. It is under my carport, but I picked it up for $300. Tim, what else is $300? There's something recently that came out that was $300.
$299.
Yeah, that $299 price tag. We'll talk about that here in a second. The seller, who was this Christian rapper, Tim, really nice guy, said his wife bought it for his birthday. Okay, so he was selling it to get money to, I guess, put towards his rap career. So there you go. Game works. All controls function properly, but the screen is a bit blurry, which I think is just an adjustment, right? Okay. No side art. Cabinet has some slight water damage on the top, just slight. Okay. And it is super heavy.
Okay.
It has casters, but the casters are broken.
So very solid, no water damage or anything?
A little water damage.
Just a little.
Just a little on the top. You can see it, like, it looks like it's full a little bit and they painted over it.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's slightly water damaged, super heavy, no side art.
Okay.
But works. Little screen blurry, blurry screen, but it works. Okay, it's a working arcade game I bought for $300. It's a good deal.
Right.
Okay. So you think it was a good deal, right?
I think so.
Decent deal?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that. You mentioned that there's something else that was $299.
Right.
What was that?
Was something I saw at Walmart.
That's right, an Arcade 1-Up, right?
Arcade 1-Up.
So an Arcade 1-Up cabinet, like a Street Fighter 2, for instance, what does it sell for?
$299.
But it doesn't have the riser, right?
Right.
Okay. So, guys, this is... Oh, somebody said LL Cool Jesus. There you go. That's a pretty good one. Good job, YouTube punk. I love that. I think his name...
Exalt?
Exalt. That was it. Thank you. Look at you.
I remember.
Exalt. That was the rapper name. I remember the guy's real name, but I'll just say his rapper name. It was Exalt. There you go. So LL Cool Jesus, though, that should be his name.
Yeah. What would your Christian rapper name be?
Is that where we're going to throw the chat room tonight?
Well, if you were a Christian rapper, what would your name be?
There you go. Well, that's totally off topic, Tim. The question I want to throw.
Okay.
What are we doing here? The question I want to throw to the chat here is this, Tim, and this is going to be our arcade debate segment for tonight. Would you rather have this used Soul Edge full-size cabinet or an arcade one-up cabinet? Now, Tim, a lot of our audience members may be saying this is a dumb question. Of course, I'd like to have the full-size cabinet, but let's talk about what's wrong with the full-size cabinet.
Okay,
it's blurry, right? Well, let's just
throw
get into the debate.
Wait,
okay,
I'm going to say, I want to take the side of the old school cabinet because I've gotten too much heat for taking anything, saying anything positive about Arcade 1-Up. So I'm going to say the Soul Edge full size cabinet.
Okay, well, boom, we're here. Okay, are we in our block? Say,
there we go. Yeah.
Scoot that.
I'm in.
Okay, you're in your block. Am I in my block?
Okay.
I'm in my block. I'm not getting over there. Okay, so we're gonna take a minute here, guys. We're gonna reset, and then we'll move forward with this. Okay, and I might even show the Soul Edge again for you guys to talk about. So here we go. Well, guys, welcome to the arcade debate segment for tonight. And Tim, we have a very interesting question tonight that I'm kind of posing to you. Of course, Tim, we've talked a lot about the Arcade 1-Up cabinet. So, recently, I made a pickup of my own, and I want to show this to everybody. This is a Soul Edge cabinet. It was used. I picked it up for $300, okay? The game works. All the controls work. Screen's a bit blurry, but other than that, it is working condition. No side art. Cabinet has a little bit of water damage on top. And Tim, this thing is major league heavy, okay? And so my question tonight for you, my question tonight for you guys is, would you rather have this used Soul Edge arcade cabinet full size, or would you rather have an Arcade 1-Up cabinet? Okay, so Tim, which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the Soul Edge cabinet that I picked up, or would you rather have an Arcade 1-Up cabinet?
This shouldn't even be a debate, because obviously it's arcade repair tips. We're going to choose the arcade cabinet.
Well, Tim, tonight I am going to take the side of the Arcade 1-Up because I believe that there are definitely some benefits to getting that instead. But I will let you go first, Tim. Why would you choose the Soul Edge over an Arcade 1-Up cabinet?
Because it's not sold at Walmart.
What does selling it at Walmart mean something?
Yes,
What is wrong with something being sold at Walmart?
It means that it was made for arcade games and that it was a genuine arcade cabinet. It's also tall, which is the standard size arcade cabinet that we're all used to playing. Even though it has taken some water damage, I guarantee you that if that same amount of water had been put on that flimsy 1-Up cabinet, that thing would have fell all apart.
Okay, well, let me respond, Tim. First off, it's kind of stinky. Okay, I'll tell you that. It was water damage. The screen was blurry, and it is heavy. Okay, so let's talk about those real quick. Let's say you have a nice game room setup in your house. Do you really want something that's heavy, stinky, has a blurry screen, no side art, and you don't know how to repair or fix and can't contact anybody to do it in your house if you've got a nice man cave?
Compared to the Arcade 1-Up, of course. Because, number one, that means it's heavy because it's actually built of real arcade parts and materials.
Let's say you've got your man cave in your basement. Are you gonna or upstairs. Are you going to move that full-size cabinet upstairs or into your basement, Tim?
No.
That was my question to you. Okay, now
I'm a general manager. I'm
we all
pay
saw a
to
video where you picked up an Arcade 1-Up cabinet, okay? You picked it up.
Yeah.
I want you to go out there and try to do that with this thing. Tim, I think you would have a hernia. I'm pretty sure.
That's what dollies and lifts and things are made for, and that's why all of us arcade collectors have back issues. But at the same time, that's what part of what makes a game a real game is the sturdiness of it and the well-builtness of it, and the genuine arcade parts of course are going to be a lot heavier than an Arcade 1-Up toy.
But most people do not want a big, stinky, may not work, may work, no side art type thing in their house. The appeal of the Arcade 1-Up, Tim, is that it's clean, it's new, there's a company that supports it, it's light, I can move it very easily. That's why I think a lot of people would rather have an Arcade 1-Up than this nice used Soul Edge cabinet.
Well, not if they
Stinky
played.
Soul Edge cabinet,
It's not
excuse
if they played Soul Edge back in the day and they want to coin it up, or they want to experience the genuine arcade feel. Yes, I'm sure there's some people that could play it on a box that you hook up to your TV, but it's still not the same as the genuine feel and the smell and everything of the arcade cabinet, because, you know, there's just that's part of it.
There may be rodents
in
this cabinet. There may be snakes inside this cabinet. There may be something living inside this cabinet. I have no idea. I have not opened it up. This is why it is still underneath my carport here at the house, Tim, because I have no idea what is actually inside this thing. I know that it works. When I moved it, it worked.
You know,
how many times have we heard that? Let's say you buy this thing, you get it to your house, you move it into your basement, you move it upstairs, and it doesn't work. Okay, what happens if that happens with an Arcade 1-Up cabinet? You take it back. You call the manufacturer. What happens if you buy this thing and it doesn't work? You're stuck with a big stinky cabinet with no side art.
You go to arcaderepairtips.com and you learn how to fix the game, and then you play the game again just like it was meant to be played. You know, they have a term for this. You ever watch American Pickers? You're going to call it patina. You know, this is what makes it real. It's going to, and smelly and all those things add to it. It can be cleaned up. It's part of the fun. It's part of getting it cleaned up and getting it working 100% just like it was back in the day.
I have a hard time believing that somebody who paid $5,000 for a nice pool table for his man cave is going to want to dig into a game and get it working. I could be wrong. If you're that man that has the really nice man cave and only has one game in it and you are all about arcade repair, please let us know. But I think, Tim, the majority of people just want nice things in their house that look nice, clean, and they don't have to worry about them working. And so I think a lot of these guys are going to be attracted to an Arcade 1-Up over this Soul Edge because of that.
Probably he's going to spend a lot more than $300 on any game. But for $300, he might as well get the real game and not some toy.
Well, but here's the deal, Tim. To get something in the same restored quality as an Arcade 1-Up, okay, that's like new smelling, fully restored, what would it cost to get a fully restored arcade cabinet?
Well,
a fully restored Miss Pac-Man. What does that cost, Tim? What does that cost, Tim? Let me know. What does it cost? I'm throwing it at you.
Know.
$800 to $1,000. You know, $800 to $1,200.
No, it's going to cost about $300 because I'm going to buy it for $50 and put $250 in it and do the work myself.
But my point is that there are people out there who don't want to do the work, right?
Well, you still got to put the Arcade 1-Up cabinet together too.
Yeah, and that is so difficult. I mean, we did it in less than an hour, and we shot it. Okay,
well,
it didn't take that long.
For the people who like that thing, it is going to be difficult. Because the people who really want to work on games are fixing big machines.
You know that Walmart and places will offer to put it together for you for a price. You can you pay a little bit more, you get one fully put together, and they're going to be running a sale on them on Black Friday, Tim. I don't know if you saw that. $249 for a Pac-Man or Galaga version. So anyway, guys, what do you say? Would you rather have the Soul Edge or the Arcade an Arcade 1-Up cabinet? Please let us know in the live chat, in the comments section, or if you're watching this on social media, please reply back and let us know your thoughts. We look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you guys for joining us again for the Arcade Debate, and we'll see you next time. Okay. How was that?
Well, maybe they'll be like you and just buy them both.
Exactly. Well, if you can afford both of them.
Right. Every time you see an arcade game for $300, you're going to pick it up.
Well, sure.
If it's working.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that most people, I really believe that there's a lot of people who won't touch that thing.
Exactly.
Because of the condition it's in.
Right. It's not our audience, but there's an audience out there.
Exactly.
I think so. What are you guys saying in the chat room
Okay,
now?
well, let's look here. Oh, here we go. Fight! Oh, I see a fight. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, somebody says Modern needs a flyback adjustment. Yeah, probably just needs an adjustment on the blurriness. I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
May need an entire flyback replacement.
Right.
Just depending.
It's got to defunk first before you bring it in.
Exactly.
And
It is a dynamo cabinet, which is nice. Has a shelf system, which
right.
I have a whole bunch of them of. So I love that thing. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm just looking through here. A little kaboom will clear that right up. There you go, Tim.
Some simple green.
I spent so much money
Pure
on Soul Edge.
freshness.
I'm looking for one myself. There you go. Somebody says Soul Edge full size, Soul Edge all the way. You can swap out JAMA boards because it's JAMA. Soul Edge has character. That's character. That's review too fun. It's got character.
Right.
That's right. Oh, what they say at the auctions? You know, it's only money. Can't take it with you. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Of course, it could be like...
It was working when it was new.
Right.
I'm sure it looked great. So
It could be like a, what do you say about a woman that's been around the block, maybe road hard and wet?
Oh, that's terrible.
So, I don't know.
It's so classic.
Just need something.
Why, Tim? Why? Burn.
Okay.
If you have small kids, they're neat, I guess. But the real deal is always the way to go. Tim picked it up. Tim picked it up and almost could put it in his pocket.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was definitely lighter.
Bet you can sell the real cabinet years later and not lose money on it. Restoring
good
it is
point.
all the fun. I agree, but some people don't. The hunt, the repair, the restore, priceless. There you go. Come on, guys. We're all friends here. There you go. Soul Edge. I have a 1-up, not getting another. So Tim already bought a 1-up here. So
Okay.
he's not getting another one. You are both right.
All right.
All right. I agree. If you can
Okay.
afford both of them, why not get both of them, right? I agree there, X51. Let's see. We built a multicade for $300 on my channel. And you can build a multicade for cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hard. Matty Mo, if you haven't checked out his channel, it's really good. Let's see. I would take the full-size game. There you go. So Edward says, so Tim, as I expected, a lot of people sided with you.
Especially in ours, we play this on YouTube, we may get some different response.
I think I'm going to have some people backing me up.
Yeah, I think so.
Saying. So, but I did pick up a $300 Soul Edge cabinet, and it works, and I'm happy about it. And Soul Calibur's going in it.
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
very excited about it.
You can't beat that. That's
right.
a win
So,
any day.
Exactly. It's a little water damaged on the top, but I'm not worried about that, obviously. The blurriness, Tim, I think, is a flyback adjustment. This one has a tube issue with blurriness.
Right.
You never know. But, I mean, vast majority of the time, we've seen that with tubes. So
Maybe we need to shoot a video on defunking one.
Defunking one, that's what I was thinking. There you go.
That would be a good video.
So, okay, Tim, let's get to the rest of the news. Now, this one, Tim, got a lot of play on our Facebook page, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here. Flashback Maker trades Twitter snipes with fans over downgraded Pac-Man Plug and Play. I'm sorry, I should have been doing that before the show. Pac-Man Plug and Play. Pac-Man Plug and Play. You know, I have to do that whole journalism thing. So, Kotaku ran a story, Tim, that people are upset with Flashback Plug and Play console maker at games over their recently released Bandai Namco set. Apparently, the console they sent to reviewers contained the arcade ROMs for the games, but the actual retail console contains the NES versions of the games. At Games claims it was a production issue, but some consumers aren't so sure. Tim, what's your take on At Games here? Do you think that it was a bait and switch, or do you think it was an honest production mistake?
I think something fishy going on there.
No, yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I really do. It just seemed... I mean, surely they knew that.
Right.
I don't believe they didn't know that.
I mean, it's pretty telling when, you know, it's like the reviewers get one version and then people go out and buy it and it's totally different.
Exactly.
That's a little sneaky.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
and then they can say, "Oh, it was a production issue. We meant to produce the other one." But we all know that it's cheaper to produce hardware that emulates NES games than it is to do hardware that emulates arcade games in a lot of cases. So I do think that there was something fishy going on.
Yeah.
It definitely smells.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that thing. If it looks like a duck, if it acts like a duck, if it
Quacks
quacks like a duck,
it's probably a duck.
it's probably a duck. So, I mean, I do think that there was something, you know, going on. So, for sure.
Me too.
But what do you guys think? Do you think that At Games pulled a fast one on everybody, or do you think it was an honest production mistake? I don't know. We'll give it up to you guys and let us know. So, okay. Oh, somebody says my friend's got a Soul Edge and a Midway cabinet. Soul Edge was a very popular game to use kits with.
Conversions.
Yeah, so you see a lot of conversions. I don't think there may have not been dedicated Soul Edge cabinets, Tim. I don't think I've seen
Every one I've ever seen seemed like a kit.
I've seen Tekken's, the dedicated Tekken cabinets converted to Soul Edge, and that, you know, both Namco games, and so I think that's probably the closest thing you'll get to a dedicated, probably. I don't think I've seen I don't know if they had dedicated Soul Caliburs either, now that I think about it. I think those are mostly kits. And because, I mean, Dynamo cabinets were so popular at the time, Tim, people were buying Dynamos and then putting stuff in them. So, okay. So, what do you guys think about the Ad Game scandal? Please let us know. Now, Tim, this one got a lot of play on our Facebook page as well, and I thought it was kind of funny. It broke on Halloween.
Right.
But, Tim, I wanted to throw this to you as well, get some opinions on it. So, He took $17,000 in quarters from arcade games, attacked worker with screwdriver, deputies say, and this is from the News Tribune, Tim.
Right.
Man dressed up as an arcade repair tech gets arrested. It turns out he was actually a thief who was involved in multiple quarter thefts from the arcade machines at a bowling alley, amounting to a $17,000 loss. Employees called 911 after they spotted the man in a wig using a crowbar to break into games. The man tried to attack a bowling alley manager with a screwdriver after being caught. So Tim, this guy had obviously hit this place up several times. So people on Facebook were saying, "There's no way he got away with $17K." Not that time they caught him. Right, but the owner of the bowling alley said that over a period of time that they had lost $17,000 worth of quarters based on the plays and the amount of money that they were counting.
I think so.
Okay, so we don't know what period of time that was, but it's several months apparently they had been losing money to this guy. So this guy was coming in, Tim, acting like an arcade repair technician. And Tim even had his tools with him. And let's take a look at all of his tools here. Tim's got a lot of the same stuff that we use.
Yeah, but I don't remember a bolt cutter being in our repertoire.
There you go. Yeah, bolt cutter.
It's not in the arcade repair
We have used a bolt cutter before.
We have.
Don't say that.
But it's not in the arcade.
It's not in the toolbox, that is for sure. But we have used bolt cutters before. Tim, hammers, we don't use hammers very often either, typically. Screwdrivers, of course, Tim. And we have, I see some wire cutters there and some pliers. I mean, that kind of stuff. But Tim, there's a lot of stuff missing here, right?
Right.
And this guy needs a stripper at least.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and then what else we got here?
Has no multimeter.
No multimeter. I mean, that's the biggest giveaway right there.
Right.
You call yourself an arcade repair technician, don't have a multimeter, Tim, you just can't call yourself that.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. So we're missing a lot of tools here, and we got some tools in there that don't need to be there.
Yeah,
bolt cutters.
No nippy cutters.
He's got the wire cutters, but everybody knows those wire cutters suck.
He does have a flashlight. It's probably so you could see how much coins are in there. But
that's right. So I mean, obviously there's some things going on here. This man did get caught. He will be brought up on charges. He had a wig on, Tim, that looked like something like Doc Brown would wear from Back to the Future. I mean, it was crazy. If you go to the link, you'll see the wig. This guy was wearing the wig and breaking into games.
Okay, so note to self: I'll stop doing that.
You're gonna stop doing that.
I was actually fixing games.
I think it's funny though. He got caught on Halloween
with
his get up. You know, I mean, it is what it is. But you know, I just think that's terrible. Tim, we've had people steal out of our games before when they were on location.
Yeah.
So we've actually had personal experience.
You guys will always know when you buy a route game, have that bar across it, and all. We used to laugh about that, and then we had a route, and
you'll put that bar on every game. Because, I mean, that's the one thing.
It's too easy to break into without it.
Yeah, without that bar, you can't break in. It's very easy to break into them. So, obviously. But, guys, this guy was caught, thankfully, Tim. Hopefully, he will be brought up on charges and be put in jail for an extended period. So, there you go. So, Tim, we see on the at Games, Tim says it's a production mistake. They should be fixing it. I like how YouTube Punk says smells funkier than John Soledge cabinet. I think that's gonna be that's now gonna be
the tagline.
Right, exactly. Maybe we should make a T-shirt of that.
Yeah.
People always want us to make T-shirts.
Right.
Man, that smells funkier than John Soledge cabinet. There you go. So, I think we'll have a Soledge cabinet with the stink lines coming up. And there you go. So Edward says that guy should have been shot. I hate thieves. Now I'm not big on the whole shooting people for no reason. This is Texas. I mean, technically we can do that a lot of times.
Right.
But
it gets in my games. You may be in trouble.
If I catch you in the act, that's a different thing. Right. But no, we're glad this guy's got caught, going to jail, and all that good stuff. So let's see what else we got here. Tim, I think we're getting close to wrapping it up here. So we'll go ahead and remind everybody that we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're looking for people to submit short videos about arcade-related topics. Send the link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure to put a plug in for your channel so people will know where to find you. We look forward to you seeing your submissions. And then, Tim, of course, we have all of our great contact information. We have our email address at questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. If you want it on the live show, put live show in the subject and we will mention it on the show. Tim, a lot of times I just take whatever the last 6 questions we received were. Okay, so there's not like an order to it. It's just that's the last 6 that we received or whatever.
Right, but if they put specifically live show, we'll try to get it on the live show.
Exactly. So there you go. And then, guys, of course, we have our YouTube page. You guys are there now, but if you want to visit it, you can go to youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. And, of course, comments from the last live show will be covered on the next episode. And, Tim, we have Eric in the chat room tonight. We want to thank Eric for joining us. Remember, guys, if you want to send an email to Eric and Rusty, you can send it to podcast@arcaderepairtips.com, and that will go to them, and they will answer it on their podcast, Tim, the Question and Answer Podcast, which you can listen to on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Tim, we have 2 links for that, iTunes.arcaderepairtips.com and Stitcher.arcaderepairtips.com, or wherever your favorite podcasts are aggregated. Is that how we say that? Social media pages, Tim. Facebook page, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com. We want to thank Louie and Mark for all the hard work they put in. Tim, Mark hit it out of the park. Literally this week with the I Played Pac-Man Today election sticker.
Yes,
that if you guys
was
did
so
not
funny.
Check that out.
That was so funny.
Mark put that up there. I thought it was really well done. So it says I Played Pac-Man Today, of course, instead of I voted today, which I thought was very clever. So really good stuff there. We want to thank Mark. And Louie, Tim, contributes a lot to that as well. We want to thank both of them for all the hard work that they put in on the Facebook page. And then, Tim, we also want to remind people we have a Twitter feed as well at twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. So, and then YouTube Punk throws out a shout out to Matty Mo and Arcade Jason's channels. Yeah, check out every other arcade channel on YouTube because they're all great. So, and we love, Tim, we love seeing arcade related videos. We've been doing this a long time, but we know there's a lot of different arcade related channels out there, and we want to support all of them. So, and again, if you guys want to send us a video so we can promote on our channel, we'll be happy to do that for you as well. Tim, we're wrapping up the arcade repair section of the podcast. Of the live show. We're about to move on to the after show. What are some things that we will be discussing in the after show?
Well, we're going to talk about maybe something about the election. Maybe NFL talk.
Yeah.
Movies and things we saw lately.
Yep. Everything non-arcade related ends up in the after show, right?
Right.
So if you guys want to stick around and hear us talk about some non-arcade repair related stuff, then please stay tuned for the after show where we'll be covering some of that stuff. If you are leaving us at this point, we want to thank you guys for joining us today for the Arcade Repair Tips live show. Tim, we will have another show coming up in December. The Christmas show. Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving to everybody who's there. Tim, the next live show will be December 6th.
Okay.
Unless there's a conflict. So, Tim, that's opening week for you, right?
Opening week for me. If I'm a little late, I'm sure John will get us started. I plan on being here unless something catastrophic happens.
Okay. So
I do plan on us being busy that week. But we will do, or we might have to do a live on location. I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
We could try to do that. If you guys have good internet, we could try to do a live show from there.
I'm supposed to have. Getting hooked up tomorrow. We'll find out.
Because they do have private party rooms. You think we could get one of those?
Yes, because they will not be available right away.
Oh, well, look at that.
We're not booking parties
We
right
may be
away.
on location at Mr. Gatti's.
That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
If I have to go and come, I'll be in and out.
I can bring the equipment as long as we have good internet. I'm good. I'm set. So
well, I'll make sure we have
We'll figure out something. We'll let you know what's happening on December 6th. But that will be the next live show. Tune in at 5:30 Central Time. 5:30 p.m. Central Time,
yes.
Not a.m. Make sure you don't wake up early in the morning. We won't be here. 5:30 p.m. Central Time on December 6th will be the next live show. We hope to see you all then. Tim, anything else before we sign off for the Arcade Repair Tips live show portion of the show?
No, thank you guys for continuing to support us and continue to come in and ask questions and to donate. All those things that you do, just keep fixing games, and we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds great, Tim. And remember, guys, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when we fix the game,
we play the game.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the after show. Yeah, if you want to. And we're back. So, after showtime, Tim.
Okay.
So, I was asking you kind of while we were waiting here, while I was going to the restroom and everything, if you'd heard from Chuck E. Cheese since you left, and you said yes.
Yeah, there's for the most part, and I kind of, because anytime you work somewhere that long, I had stuff hidden in the ceiling, all behind stuff, and for the most part, though, I haven't had much. Of course, I left it in such good hands with Mike.
Sure.
A guy that I trained, I worked with. I would love to have brought him to Mr. Gatti's, but I think it's a good position for him there. And so, for the most part, no, I hadn't heard much at all. And but it made me feel good. My old district manager and a friend are in town. They were like, hey, you should meet us at Wild Wings after we get off from here. They want to see me and see how things are. And they did call me for help with a game today. So, like I said, keeping that lines of communication open and stuff. So it's been good. One of the toughest things that's happened, though, is, and guys really consider this, I don't think I was really ready for the change in insurance and all that stuff. There's a ton of stuff involved because it's all legal. You're supposed to carry insurance. And just making sure my family had coverage for this month while in between jobs and stuff, it has been a real challenge. And let me say something. If you've ever had to go on COBRA insurance, bless your heart, or, I don't know how you do it.
I didn't.
And
I've done it before.
The cheapest Obamacare one was crazy expensive. I'm like, this is the cheapest, and I was just very frustrated, but actually I went through. So I made a decision. I said, well, you know what? I'll just tell some numbers here just because we're among friends and talking.
It's just us here.
Yeah, Obamacare was about $1,400 a month for me and my family.
That's about right.
That's a big chunk of change for me.
Right.
And COBRA was going to be about $1,200 or $1,300.
You probably get better coverage.
So what I did was I called my old insurance company. I said, look, I just want to continue on for another month. You guys get the money. You see I don't use it a lot.
Right.
What can you offer me? And they actually offered me a 1-month policy, a special 1-month policy. It actually covered just about everything I had except for dental and vision, and for about $300 a month.
There you go.
So I went from having to pay, but it's only because you can only get it 1 month. The longer you got it, the actually more it was. Mm-hmm. As crazy as that is. So anyway, I was able to get insurance coverage instead of $1,400. I spent $300. I was very happy.
Now, here's the deal, guys. You guys can contact insurance companies yourself. Me and my wife, for a while, we did a 6-month policy with Blue Cross Blue Shield that we paid out of our pocket that we'd actually contacted them about. And it was much cheaper than doing COBRA. But I've done COBRA too in the past. And so, I mean, it really, if you contact insurance companies though, Tim, you'd be surprised how good a deal they'll cut you.
Right.
Without having to go through the Affordable Care website and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I found out that was not very affordable or very caring on that website. So, and I know other people, if you just want to do kids and stuff, it can get real cheap. And if your income is not as much, it is based on income.
Correct.
So, and they base the income on my new job, not my old job, stuff like that. So that's one reason why mine was so much. But at the same time, just how stuff has changed and how much money I spend on car insurance and health insurance every month is crazy.
Absolutely.
I never would have thought that, but you got to have it, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a side topic, but...
Yeah.
Take care of insurance.
That's what the after show is for. And guys, if you're just now joining us, this is the after show, which means that we have already completed the arcade repair segment of tonight's show.
Right.
This is the free topic segment where anything goes. And if you have any topics you'd like to cover with us tonight, please let us know. We'd be happy to cover those with you. Now, Tim, everybody wants to know how's our investment doing. And Tim, I know we haven't been talking investments much because
the
you've been
market,
super busy.
And the market has been horrible lately. We generally exchange tips or something, or we think stuff. There's just not been much to invest in. And here's what happened. We invested in a marijuana stock conglomerate named Cron, C-R-O-N. When Canada went legal recreation, I thought, this is going to go. About the time that happened, we went into trade wars and all this stuff. So the economy has really kept it down. It hasn't done much at all. And then voting day, today's Thursday, so on Tuesday, I think it was Michigan that voted to legalize it. It popped back up a little bit today, but we're still down about 30%.
Wow, okay.
Right now. And we were making money on it.
Right.
And it's kind of been losing, so we're just in a long hole, going to wait it out and see what happens. Also, Coca-Cola was in talks with InBev and other people about a CBD oil infused drink, and a lot of that has stalled and basically said they don't want in it. And I thought that was strange. Because that was all the talk for a while, and those stocks have not done as good either.
Well, and I think what's happened, Tim, is that with the economy stalling, you're seeing companies not take as many risks. You're seeing the risk pull back because all of a sudden, since the economy's stalling, it's like, oh, we don't know if we're going to have that money to invest in that kind of research and development, so we're going to scale back. And a lot of the reason the economy's stalling, Tim, it seems two things. The housing market is down because the interest rates are up. That's part of it. And then, of course, like you mentioned, the tariffs and things that are happening right now with other countries is also stalling the economy to a certain extent.
And, of course, we don't smoke or anything, so we're not helping. But some of you guys out there need to step it up.
With the CBD oil?
Yeah, or at least take some CBD oil or something, make some brownies, because it's not. I think that it's supply and demand. The supply evidently is outweighing the demand right now, and I think that surprised a lot of people that they're actually, because Canada, Mexico, talking about it. So I think that it's funny that the supply is actually must be meeting the demand, because the price of it's not really going up, and then I don't even know how much it costs.
Well, there you go.
But I know my stock isn't doing very good.
There you go. And I think that may be true, though, Tim, is that the supply and demand thing may be an issue. I mean, even though Canada has legalized it, I'm not sure. I mean, how much of that, where's that going to come from? Like, where's that supply going to come from?
Right.
How many people are actually going to partake now that it's legal? That's the question. So, okay, let's see what we got here. Edward says, Trump said he was going to make insurance cheaper. I guess that was a lie because it is so high. It is so high, I don't know if he's going to do anything about it. Who knows?
And I understand a lot of it is because of the people that, lawsuits and things. I mean, it's high because medical costs are high too. So, yeah, I hope somebody comes up with an answer, whatever it is.
I don't know if I think a solution is very complex. I think part of it is that I wish there was a cash system where people could pay for exactly what they need in health insurance. Like you go to the doctor and they tell you exactly how much something is. That's not how it works. It works based on the contract that the insurance company has worked out with your provider.
Right.
And that contract is different for every insurance group and for every provider.
Now, I would say that...
Have you seen what's the guy? Ruins Everything. What's his name? Have you seen that?
Yeah. Gallagher.
Or whatever his name is.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He talks about it on there, how there's a super bill. I worked in the medical field. I know all about this, okay? We have different contracts with different providers. The government pays less than anybody.
Right.
Okay, so like Medicare, Medicaid, they pay less than anybody. If you want to pay a price, you want to pay the government price.
Right. Every politician should have to be on the same insurance that we have.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the price of, I bet you, will be going down for long.
But I think the biggest thing we need is transparency among doctors. Doctors need to tell you how much things cost. Like when you go in, if you need a procedure, you should know exactly how much that procedure is, even if your insurance is paying for it.
Right. It's kind of like when you take your car in for a repair, he's going to tell you, well, I'm going to do this is how much it's going to cost. Then I can decide, well, I don't know if I want to do it, or what can we do? Make some changes. I don't know how bad I really need an arm, or as long as it's not a vital organ.
I really need an arm?
Yeah. I can do without one arm and still live pretty happily for the most part. But.
No, but I think what happens, the reason they won't do that, though, Tim, is because they have different contracts with every insurance company. If they put out that one price,
then
one insurance company would be like, well, why are you charging this much to them? Or why are you charging this? You know what I'm saying? There'd be so many fights.
But there has to be some kind of solution.
There needs to be transparency, and there's just not right now. So let's go with that. Let's see. I was wondering if you guys were going to have a Black Friday sale on the DVD sets. I don't know. I mean, should we?
You usually do.
Sometimes we do. So maybe we will. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. Let's see. Watching from Kuwait.
Oh,
hello.
Awesome.
Awesome. Stage 1. Kuwait, man.
Wow.
What time is it? I always like to know that. What time is it? So there you go. Let's see. How many arcade games are in Kuwait? That's what I want to know. That's only me, I guess. I found an arcade here in the Middle East. I can't figure out what cabinet it is. It seems to be from the 80s. Send us a picture.
Yeah.
Questions at arcaderepairtips.com will help you figure it out. Let's see. I heard some marijuana stock went up when Sessions was let go.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that what I did hear that too. In fact, they did take a bounce.
Adam ruins everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Watch Adam ruins everything. It's great.
Adam ruins everything.
I love that. Not all of his stuff is true. I mean, I've been intimately involved in medical and in the car dealer fields, and some of the stuff he says is not correct, but he breaks down things very well. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, thanks for What were we just talking about?
We were just talking about Kuwait, and then we were talking.
Well, we're just talking
marijuana
about
stock with Sessions.
Yes, it did because he seemed to be a little bit more against it than Trump was.
Right.
But anyway, we'll see. And I vote for any politician that can fix the healthcare system. I don't. And if you think it's fixed, I'm sorry, we're going to have to disagree on that one.
Well, the way it is now is broken, and the Affordable Care Act didn't seem to fix it. So I think transparency is needed, but nobody wants to do that.
But I understand it's good, though, for people who are pre-existing. I'm saying there's a lot of it that's not bad. So don't get us wrong. We're not like total burn it all and start over. There's parts of it that are good. But anyway, that's just, we'll get into something we probably
here you go. Edward, doctors lie to you so they can charge you way more. Do you think, why do you think they drive fancy cars? I will say this. I've met providers like that.
Yeah.
No names. That they always bill the highest. Mm-hmm. But I've also met several that will bill exactly what they're supposed to, and they are underpaid.
Right.
And it's because of the way that the insurance companies work.
Right.
So, but the reason why there's doctors that will bill more is because a lot of times insurance companies will not pay you but a tenth of what you bill.
Wow.
Okay, the government is like that. Medicare, Medicaid is like that. You will bill them $1,000. You're lucky to get back $100.
Wow. Okay,
and people say that government healthcare is the answer. I mean, it could be maybe if you do it a certain way, but Medicare, Medicaid is broken. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. If you can do it a different way, then maybe you can get to work. But right now, we've
been talking about government and stuff. What happened on last Tuesday?
Oh, hang on, I gotta go on. We're the richest country, I think, with the worst healthcare. Now, just real quick on healthcare, we have pretty great healthcare here.
Right.
I know that people say that we have really bad healthcare, but I have family in Canada, and I was about to say my uncle needed a quadruple bypass, 4 valves, okay, and he would have had to wait 2 months in Canada to get that done. Now it would have been cheap for him to get it done there. He ended up driving to Washington State and getting it done there, even though he had to pay more because he could get it done right then.
Wow.
That's not something you want to wait on.
Right.
Okay?
I don't want to be told, well...
Exactly. We may not get to you, kind of thing. So, we have pretty good health care. It's way more expensive than it needs to be, and the system is broken between insurance companies and doctors. Okay, we need to figure that out. So, there you go. Let's see. Oh, I just tweeted a picture to Arcade Repair. We will look that up. Okay. So, that was from our friend in Kuwait, stage 1.
Okay.
Let's see. Insurance companies. The insurance companies are not all bad. I will say that. But they are part of the problem, too. Mm-hmm. We'll leave it at that. Election talk. When did you vote? Or did you vote?
I did vote.
Okay.
I took my daughter to vote for the first time.
Wow, first time.
So I was really proud because we got to do that moment together.
That's important.
And it was neat to be able to take her and get our stickers and take a selfie with her and all that stuff. So we early voted about a week before the election.
Okay.
I would think.
The Tuesday before.
Trying to think to beat the crowds and so forth. And you know what? It was still pretty crowded. Texas, if you don't know, set an early... I know overall there was more people voted in this midterm than ever.
Yep.
And so that's good. It's good because more people saw the need and voted, and we were high voter turnout, especially in our area. It was extremely high. Mm-hmm. In our county that we live in, there's only 135,000 registered voters.
I didn't realize that. 50,000
voted early.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That's not all that voted, but 50,000 voted early. And so, that was I think that was good. We're strong supporters of voting, no matter who your candidate is. You can't complain if you don't go vote. And, I sometimes have problems with people who just, I don't believe in voting. I don't ever go vote. I mean, whether you're Libertarian, Democrats, Communist, whatever you're Republican, whatever your party or whatever you want to vote, maybe you're a true independent. You just like to go in and pick people, or maybe you play whoever's name you think is the funniest. Whatever it is, at least you have some kind of vote or some kind of say. And truly, it does matter. I noticed in a local election, if you've ever heard of Stephen F. Austin, it's in Nacogdoches, they had an election that ended in a tie.
Wow.
It was for like city council. It might have been 1,000 votes. It wasn't a lot of votes, but it was a tie.
That's pretty crazy.
Tell me one vote wouldn't have mattered.
That's right.
To that guy, or whoever. I don't even know how they decide. I think they're having to redo it or something. recount and all kinds of stuff in a small election. But
there you go.
So when did you vote, John? Did you vote?
I early voted on the third day of early voting. So, about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, I went the first day it wasn't crowded.
Wow.
So, it opened on a Monday. The Monday I went by, it was crowded. The Tuesday I went by, it was crowded. The Wednesday at lunch when I went by, it was open. So, I went in, I voted
I think I voted the Tuesday because the Monday it was too crowded. Monday I walked out of line. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
Tuesday is when I went.
So, I went on a Wednesday. Tim, we have the cool voting machines here, the touchscreen ones, which I really like. Some of the people in the counties around us have the dial. So you turn a dial, and the dial selects the candidates, and you have to hit a button to check the candidates. Have you heard about these? Yeah, I mean, that's almost like the punch.
Right.
Like I said, the old punch that I remember voting on. Right. Yeah, exactly, with the Chads and everything. But we have touchscreen ones. It's super easy to do. You just keep going until that screen locks up, and you can't do anything else. I mean, that's what I always tell people. Just keep on hitting buttons until that thing just goes blank.
Yep.
And it's super easy. It literally takes a minute. I was done in a minute. You go through, review, done.
Right.
I mean, it was that quick. So there's no excuse not to vote. What I will say is this. If you don't vote, basically you're saying, I don't care about the direction of the country. I don't care if it's this way or that way. I don't care. I mean, and that's fine if you really don't care. But I think all of us have an opinion.
Right.
I really do. And so, which is why I encourage everybody to vote.
Yeah.
So there you go. So if you guys voted, did you vote on election day? Did you vote early?
Were the lines long?
Were the lines long?
Yeah, we don't really care who you voted for.
Do you use the touch? Exactly.
What was it like?
Do you do the electronic? Do you have electronic machines, or do you have the old Chads that you have to punch out? Because some counties in Texas still have the Chads.
Wow.
They have gone away from the electronic voting. So, but the funny thing is that you still run that thing through an electronic reader.
You know, every year we hear about, if you choose one ticket, like a straight Republican or straight Democrat, it'll switch.
Yes.
I think that's a kind of like become a wives' tale or like a myth.
I
really don't know if that actually happens, but every year it's like, before you go, make sure it doesn't switch. And I'm thinking, I don't really know if that actually happens, but if that's ever happened to you, I'd really like to know that.
Right. I've always heard that too, but I've never seen it. And I reviewed my ballot, Tim. It was the same as what I put in.
I did.
So
what's going on in the chat room there?
Let's see what we got here. Did your voting machines have any irregularities?
No?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Let's see. Took me 2.5 hours to vote early.
Wow.
So there you go. Let's see. Haven't seen it before. Anyone talk about it even? No picture of it on the internet. Oh, okay. That's the cabinet. That was stage one talking about the cabinet. We'll look at that on Twitter after we get off the show. I think they should do, like they do overseas, free healthcare. And, like I said, I think free healthcare is good. It's not free.
Right.
Tax-supported healthcare.
Right.
Is the way I like to say
it. And
is
it the Dutch or the Netherlands, though? They pay like 60% in taxes to get that.
Right. So it is tax-supported healthcare, which means that you pay with your taxes. Same thing Canada has, Tim. But that's the thing in Canada is a lot of times you have to wait a very long time to get the procedure that you need. That's the problem. If they can solve that problem with government healthcare, it may not be so bad. But I don't know if that problem is solvable. Because when everybody is paying for it, everybody's going to take advantage of it, right?
Right.
And that's part of the problem is that you have people that are just getting little sniffles that if they have to pay for it, they're not going to go.
Right.
But if it's free or tax supported, they're going to go.
You pay a deductible as is, so you don't just run up there for every little thing.
Or a copay.
Right.
Yeah, correct. So, I think it's interesting. If there's a way they could cut the lines and do that, like tax-supported healthcare, and not make it cost a fortune out of my paycheck.
Right.
I could see a solution for it. So there you go. Let's see. Next Texas election won't have straight ticket option. That's correct. So this election we had a straight ticket option. You could do straight Democrat, straight Republican.
Ah, interesting. I didn't know that.
But next time that we vote for the presidential election in 2020, you will have to go through and pick each individual candidate.
Oh, did you hear about the Republican that won in Nevada?
Which one?
The one that died last month.
I did. That was crazy.
He also run a brothel.
Yes, I know. Like, what do they do now? Like, that guy's... I don't understand.
The way they explained it was the people that wanted to vote Republican went ahead and voted Republican, straight ticket like that. That way, when it gets appointed, it has to be a Republican.
Right.
Does that make sense? But it just seems weird to vote for somebody that's dead.
Yeah, I think there should be a thing in there where they can take that person off the ballot and put somebody else in.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't know. I just thought that was strange.
But does the government even take into account our vote? It seems to me that they put whoever they want to in office. There you go. So now Kuwait says we have zero tax and medical is free thanks to the oil. That's right. Kuwait has such a bundle of oil that their country makes all their money off of that, which is fantastic. I wish we had something like that.
Yeah.
But we don't have the kind of oil reserves that Kuwait has.
I still have to believe that there's local issues and local things. I know what he's saying. Like if I had not voted for who I voted for, they still would have won.
Yep.
But at the same time, and I think when I was younger, I kind of had that mentality, but it doesn't matter anyway. But really, it does. Like I said, tell the guy that in Stephen F. Austin that Nacogdoches that it ended in a tie.
Well, not only that, you may not realize this, but 20 years ago, Texas was a Democrat state.
It was.
And now it's more Republican.
Right.
I mean, but it goes back and forth.
But it certainly was close this time.
Correct.
So, that could have went either way. Either more people come out that were Democrat, Beto could have been a senator.
Correct.
And so I would be kicking myself if I liked him and I didn't go vote.
Right.
At the same time, it could have not have been that close. So I don't know. It's a personal opinion, but I think that it's just seems important to have a say-so, at least at some point. And if you don't like Trump or you don't like somebody else, you say, well, I didn't vote for him.
That's right.
at least
I voted for the other guy.
Yeah, at least you can have some kind of say or some kind of legit complaint.
Okay, I think we'll move on from that. We'll let that go. Let's see. Actually, we got some movie talk, so let's move into that. Have you guys ever watched the movie The Founder with Ray Crockett McDonald, stars Michael Keaton? It is a great movie. It is, and it was on Netflix.
I think it's now. I know I saw it on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so it's on Amazon.
I think it was. It could not be now, but
yeah, YouTube Punk's right. We did see it, and it was.
If you haven't seen it. And it will make you feel sorry for the actual people who made McDonald's.
I'm telling you, golly.
Michael
Keaton is fantastic in it,
It's
though.
great.
Man, he's
great movie.
So let's talk a little bit about Halloween.
Okay.
How was your Halloween?
Because I had so much going on, I didn't even get home till after dark. Didn't get to pass out any candy.
That's okay, it rained.
Yeah, it rained that day. So some people were going to trick-or-treat the day before. Some were going to trick-or-treat the day after. It kind of threw everybody off, and really, even then, the people who wanted trick-or-treaters, they just didn't come.
Right.
So there was too much going on at churches and other things, so didn't really do nothing. I think I went out to eat.
Oh, there you go. So my daughter went out. Now, we did a thing at the church, but on Halloween, my daughter went out we have two girls that live in the neighborhood, so her same age, and two families. They all went out together. They hit like 10 or 15 houses, and she got a bucket full of candy in 30 minutes.
Wow.
So now, we usually get 200 plus trick-or-treaters at our house.
Right.
On a regular Halloween.
Right.
That is very normal for us, 200 plus.
Wow.
This year, with all the rain, we got 60. Okay, it is a lot of candy. Usually I run out of candy. But this year we got 60, which is still a lot. Like, people are like, man, you got a lot of trick-or-treaters. I'm like, that's like a quarter of what we normally get because the rain kind of dampened everything. Mm-hmm. So, but we still had fun. It was still good Halloween. I usually watch Young Frankenstein. I love that movie on Halloween. We didn't watch it this year. Still have to watch it. Yeah. Mel Brooks. I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan, so I love Young Frankenstein. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. But that was our Halloween, Tim. The rain really put a damper on things. So, like, from 6 to 7, it was dry. 7 to 8, it poured rain. Like, literally poured. 8 to 9, or no, that 6:30 to 7:30.
Yeah.
So, like, 5:30 to 6:30 was okay. 6:30 to 7:30 poured. 7:30 to 8, we had a little lull and more people came.
Yeah.
But then after that, I turned off my light. Usually, we leave it on till 9 here. So, but it was pretty rainy. Yeah, I leave it on late. Mm-hmm. Hey, you got that hard-working mom just getting off work at like 7 o'clock at night, wants to bring her kid by, I'm still going to have candy for you. So, there you go. Let's see.
Well, she worked at Gatti's, I would already.
Oh, somebody said 200 plus. Yes, no exaggerating. 200 plus people.
Yeah.
I buy like 10, 15 of those big bags of candy.
Wow.
This year I bought less, kind of thinking that, but we still have a ton of candy left over. We're donating it all to the church. So we'll hand it out during the Christmas parade.
I have a candy crane.
Oh, there you go. If you need a candy crane, I got your candy. So let's see what else we got here. Skyscraper with The Rock. Have you seen that?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I saw that. Liked it. It's a good movie.
Okay.
I did not see entertaining.
I did not.
I mean, it was, it's kind of cheesy in a little parts, but for the overall, I liked it. Thought decent storyline. Rock's I always enjoy his movies. They're at least entertaining. I don't think he's the world's greatest actor or anything like that, but they're entertaining.
Oh, he's very entertaining. I
like the action in it.
Okay, do we even want to talk about football? Because at this point, I am so disenchanted with the Cowboys.
Well, everybody knows we're Cowboys fans, so or at least we were.
Somebody asked me, so I have my Cowboys jacket on. Somebody asked me, "Are you a diehard fan?" I'm like, I'm still trying to decide.
Yeah,
I watch every game, but I'm not sure if I'm a diehard Cowboys fan.
Somebody at the first of the year said the Cowboys would win 3 games, and I thought you're crazy. Now I'm starting to think they know what they're talking about.
That
I don't know if
person was
we'll
a
ever
genius.
win another game. I'm starting to wonder. But we did make a trade and got a good player that gave us a little bit of hope.
That's right.
We got Amari Cooper.
And he's good.
And he is very good, and I think
But it doesn't matter how good your receiver is if your play calling still sucks.
Well,
I'm just saying.
What can you
see?
say?
Look at that. You see?
What can
See
you
that?
say?
Like that? Okay.
If you know what I'm doing, you'll know why I'm doing it.
That's right. So
We got the clappiest coach, the happiest guy ever. You
I have.
Oh, you blew that 2 point. You lost that fourth down. Yeah.
I have that shirt that he wears, and sometimes I wear it and I just go around doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that I could have been Jason Garrett for Halloween.
Halloween, you sure could.
That's right, exactly. So, but not talking about the Cowboys,
Well-
or if you want to.
Well, let's
we can
talk.
pontificate.
Well,
Go for it.
we understand that we got Amari Cooper. Did you hear about who the Saints picked up?
Yes, and you know who has tickets to the Cowboys Saints game on November 29th? This
that
guy.
Oh, wow.
So I am going to see that
How
in
fun.
person. So we'll see. We'll see how old Des Bryant does with his new team, the New Orleans Saints, where he will be a perennial number 2 receiver.
Right. Because
will.
Michael Thomas is
Exactly.
bad.
You can't.
He
You
is
can't stop that guy. Exactly.
That guy is awesome. Yeah.
So
I
how's
wish
your
I had him
fantasy
on.
team though?
Speaking
of that,
I'm 5-3.
I'm 3-5.
I'm still in second place, but I played the number 1 team last time and I beat them. So I'm doing pretty good. I picked up Fitzpatrick for a backup.
There you go.
And when my guy was on bye week, Andrew Luck was on bye week, he filled in and did quite nicely. He's pretty consistent. So I have had to rake and scrape to get some decent players, and I've had a ton of people hurt or on bye
that's
week.
fantasy as a whole.
And so, but I'm coming on. I think I'm getting it. I'm getting my team a little bit better. It's getting the better.
I'm thinking about
a little
pulling
more
in
confident.
Astros and tanking the rest of the season
Really?
so I can get a high draft next year.
Bad, huh?
It is what it is. So anyway, we'll continue on.
Okay.
Okay, I bought a couple of things, but I don't know if I want to talk about them. I bought Golf Story on the Nintendo Switch, which is a good game. And I bought the Tile Mates trackers. Have you seen those? You put them on things, and then you can ring them. I had one break on me already.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if I'm going to recommend those things. The Tile Mates, if you've never seen them. They're
Never
made
seen
by a
them.
company named Tile, and you just hook them to things, and your phone, you hit a button on your phone, and it rings the thing so you can find it.
Okay.
But I had one break on me, so I don't know if I'm going to recommend those. We'll leave it at that. Let's go to the movie talk, because we've already had some. Let's see. The new Halloween movie. Have you seen that?
I did. It just didn't. I don't know. It's like it just didn't interest me anymore. My
got Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
wife and some teacher friends went and saw it, and they thought it was okay. They thought it was entertaining, funny, and a little scary. My son and some teenagers went and thought, and they thought it was just dumb. They like it's just retarded. It wasn't scary. They're like, they just hated it. So
I think it's got a lot of nostalgia factor.
Yeah,
So
I trust my wife's opinion a little bit more because she grew up watching it and she liked it, so it was entertaining. So she was okay with it. Did not go see it myself though.
Okay.
I've been mostly watching just Netflix and stuff. I haven't even been to the movies in forever. I don't even use my movie pass.
Yeah, you should. Now, they've got a couple of comments in here. You could be a Browns fan that has a New England fan wife.
Oh wow,
That's pretty bad.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
yeah, that's
Try being a Raiders fan. That's pretty rough too.
okay.
Okay,
We're getting some
okay.
sympathy out here. We're okay. we got the Raiders' best
That's
player.
right. Yeah, that's right. Tetris Effect is the newest Tetris on PS4, so I'll check it out.
Well, I would say this about the Raiders: they are going to have a heck of a draft pick next year because
I'm
they're
telling you,
trading everybody off
I know
for
they're gonna
draft
have
picks.
how many number ones?
I don't know, a bunch of them, but
So it's gonna be.
maybe they'll pull like a Cowboys draft or something, and I guess that's just they've pretty much given up.
Hey, if you can do that though, you can build. That's how the Cowboys did it. So I mean, that's how we got to mediocre instead of
Right.
bad, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, let's talk about what we've been watching. Tim, have you seen any movies? You haven't seen any movies?
I haven't been to the movies in a month or two.
Really?
I have not.
Like not even at home? There's been a lot of good movies come out.
Honestly, John, everybody knows just starting a new job. I'm coming in and then working on my table and getting online and checking stuff. I literally have maybe watched an episode or two of whatever show I'm watching on Netflix, and I usually fall asleep about halfway during and catch up the next night.
There you go.
So,
Well, I did watch one movie.
What'd you see?
I saw The Incredibles 2.
Oh, I've been wanting to see that.
And
What do you think?
It was fantastic.
I heard it was.
It's
just
like
really
reverse Incredibles 1.
Wow.
Does that make sense? I mean, so it's really good. It's got some really funny parts in it. I really liked it. So I was a big Incredibles fan, though, to begin with. So,
Right.
I mean, I liked him
Did
anyway.
Olivia watch it with you?
She is not old enough to watch, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I think Wreck-It Ralph and The Incredibles, as much as I want her to see both those, I think you really need to be about 7.
Okay.
Okay, so you need, before you can really enjoy it.
That's what I was kind of wondering if y'all both enjoyed it, but a little bit. She's just a little young for it yet.
I'm going to watch the rest of it with my wife. She'll get to see it. But yeah, I think she's a little too young for it at this point.
Okay.
So, but it was good. Now, Tim, we have both been watching Making a Murderer Season 2. I finished it up. Have you seen all of it?
I have not finished it. I'm on about episode 6. Again,
now, I mean, it doesn't end. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, the cases are still ongoing.
Oh, yeah.
You know that, right? So, I mean, it's not like it ends. But this is kind of an update on what's happened since the first part came out.
I do like the lawyer that he hired.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Wow. And I like her approach. She's like, if you really are guilty, I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And, and then I'm not going to represent you. It's like, but if you're really innocent, I'll figure it out. So,
and she's pulled some stuff out that, like, is just, I mean, it's just amazing. Like, why didn't his initial lawyers pick up on a lot of this stuff?
Right.
I mean, like, the early stuff was interesting, but as it goes on, she digs and finds even more stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's just, some of the stuff is just, like, mind-blowing. Like,
and
this would have been brought up.
I don't want to just prove him innocent. I want to find out who did it.
Right.
So she really delves into, how could the blood have got there, or how could this have happened? And
well,
it's
the
so
location of, like, the bones and how everything. Have you seen that part yet? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, golly.
And the dogs, it really makes you think.
The dogs, that was interesting, too.
And what's funny, though, is if you read about it, you can totally read police reports, and it'll all of a sudden make you think, oh, well, they didn't talk about that. And it makes you think, okay, I thought this series, season 2, did a little bit better about presenting both sides more.
Right.
You know what I mean? The first one seemed so biased that I think some stuff got debunked because they're like, well, you didn't tell what happened here. You didn't tell his finger was cut, and you didn't tell, or something like that. This time it seems like they are going for more of the documentary, like they're kind of presenting both sides a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of interesting. I love but the first one was shot over 10 years. Remember, it was like a groundbreaking documentary.
Right, and this one's shot over like 2.
Right.
So it's a lot of difference. And then I
love the show. I just like it.
It's great. Man, it's good, and it's just interesting.
If you had to lay money on it, John, though, did he do it?
I'm saying no.
Yeah.
I mean,
he sure.
And Brandon Dassey.
Oh,
man.
There's no doubt in my mind that confession was coerced.
Oh, no doubt.
Because he just, if you watch it, they keep telling him, and they're feeding him stuff, and they're telling him, if you tell on him, you'll get out here and you'll go home. He shouldn't have been,
and they said they wanted
16 years old.
They wanted to make that law to where a minor can't be questioned without their parent, or I would say parent or lawyer present. Right. That should be a law.
Right.
You should not be able to be questioned if you're under the age of 18 without a lawyer or a parent present.
I like his lawyers in this episode, too.
Yeah, they came out really, I mean, you could tell that, I think they were very frustrated because, it's like, they'd get him off, and then they would have filed an appeal, or they'd get him off, and
the day before, well, I'm coming home tomorrow, Mom. Oh,
right.
Sorry. Not this time.
So, it's just, man,
Great show, though. If you've never seen it, go back and watch the original one to begin with, and just binge watch it, and you'll enjoy that you did. What else you been watching?
Now, I watched Daredevil season 3.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic. Man,
really?
best season of Daredevil yet. And that's hard to say because 1 and 2 are really good. This one was the best.
Okay.
Because he, I don't know if you watched The Defenders, but they dropped a building on him. Uh-huh. Like literally a building on Daredevil. Right. But he survives.
Wow, okay.
And it's kind of his story past that point. And Tim, I didn't binge watch like the first 2 seasons. I kind of watched them very slowly. This one I plowed through.
Right.
Because it was so interesting. So Daredevil season 3 is on Netflix. They canceled Luke Cage and they canceled Iron Fist. Which I'm very frustrated about.
I was surprised with Iron Fist. I thought it had a lot of viewing.
The second season
I liked
was great.
It.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
The second season was great. The first season was rough, but the second season was great. And they've canceled that now. They've canceled Luke Cage.
One thing that I know you don't watch this, John, but everybody knows I like The Walking Dead. And you know that Rick Grimes' last episode was on.
Except not.
Except not. Right. He did not die.
I don't watch The Walking Dead, but I've heard enough people talk about it. Except not.
He did everything but die.
Now, apparently AMC's also there's rumors about a Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah.
So apparently AMC's getting into the movie business with some of their TV properties, is what I'm hearing. Now, I've heard, though, that that Walking Dead jumped the shark a long time ago at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, people who used to watch it, a lot of my friends no longer watch it.
It's kind of,
Have you jumped off the ship yet, or are you still on?
I still watch it, but I won't watch it like used to. It's like Sunday night, don't call me. I'm watching Walking Dead. Now it's like, oh, I hadn't been a couple weeks. Let me go back and watch that episode.
Sure.
And I just kind of keep going just because I just kind of want to see. They always leave it a cliffhanger, just kind of see what happened next. But it's not like I'm anxiously waiting for Sunday night, 8 o'clock to get there.
You were in the beginning.
Not in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning it was like, okay, turn off my cell phone. It was so intense like that. But now, yeah, it's like, and then I may not watch. But, I kind of got back into it a little bit watching this season. It's been okay.
There you go. Now, you also said you'd been watching The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this. I have not watched it.
I literally thought it was just a documentary or something, and it's not. And it's actually a really, if you kind of like that storyline, it's basically, in a nutshell, these people who are adults, and they grew up in what they thought was a haunted house, and they've all convinced themselves it really wasn't haunted. We were just kids. It was a big spooky house. But, some of them are like, oh, no, it wasn't. And some of them are like, one guy even writes horror stories and does all this and debunks haunted houses for a living.
Gotcha.
And so something happens, that draws them all back. And then they're remembering all what happened. It flips back and forth so much, though, it really is kind of hard to keep up with. But it actually ends up, it's not real super gory or not really scary. It's more of explaining stuff. It just has some creepiness to it, but it's pretty good. I like it.
And then, Tim, I have 2 upcomings here. Now, somebody mentioned the new Wreck-It Ralph comes out this month.
Yes.
And I do want to go see that, but again, I can't take my daughter.
Right.
Because I feel like it's a little too old for it at this point.
Oh, we'll have to go.
Yeah, but we do need to go see Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
It looks great. Looks funny.
It does look good.
So you know the premise, right? Like, so apparently, like, the steering wheel on Sugar Rush breaks.
Uh-huh.
And they have to get another one.
Okay.
So it actually has an arcade repair storyline behind it. Okay, so basically a kid is playing Sugar Rush and the steering wheel breaks.
Okay.
So they have to go find another one. Well, that's why they go to the internet to see if they can find another steering wheel for Sugar Rush.
Okay.
So there you go. So that's the whole premise.
Okay.
There you go, in a nutshell.
Didn't know that.
I'm giving away the whole plot. There you go.
All right.
Let's see. Homecoming. Have you seen Homecoming on Amazon Prime? Have you seen anything about it?
Nope, I haven't heard of it.
It has Julia Roberts in it.
Yes, I have. Okay.
So when I said that, you got it.
I was going to say, no, I remember seeing the preview
it's directed by Sam Esmail.
Okay.
Who also does Mr. Robot, which is a great show, and I love Mr. Robot. I tried to watch the first episode of Homecoming. It's based on a podcast that had several celebrities in it.
Okay.
And it's about this lady that helps veterans, kind of places them in jobs after they come back home.
Okay.
But it has some twist in there, and I tried to watch the first episode, and I fell asleep because I was tired, but I still want to go back and see it. It is shot like Mr. Robot, with that same kind of styling where you have characters who are not on the center of the screen. You have them kind of slightly off center. You see more of the background in shots. You have overarching type camera frames and stuff. So it's shot very much like Mr. Robot. If you watch Mr. Robot, the font is the same as Mr. Robot. A lot of stuff are very similar of that. The storyline is completely different though.
Okay.
So, but it does look good. I look forward to watching the rest of it. And then, Tim, I heard about this miniseries called The Little Drummer Girl.
Yes.
Have you heard about this?
Yes, I've heard of it.
So what have you heard about it? Because I had not heard anything.
Well, just that they've been advertising on AMC a lot.
Right, I don't watch
it.
AMC very often because I don't watch Walking Dead.
They're showing little snippets of it.
So apparently it's about the Israelis recruit an actress to in their war against the Palestinians.
Yeah, something
That's basically in the 80s or 90s, something like that. And so it looks interesting. I went ahead and bought the season because it was only $2 on Amazon, and it's only like 6 episodes, 30 minutes or something. Like that. It's 3 hours long, but I was very interested in it. It looks interesting. So, Little Drummer Girl.
We haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched anything on it yet, so I'm very.
What's up in the chat?
Let's see. Here you go. Can you guys believe how much it costs for razors nowadays? There you go. They are expensive, but dollarshaveclub.com. Is that where we get our plug-in?
Yeah.
So, whatever you want to do. Season 3 of Mr. Robot on Prime. I wasn't feeling it. Season 3 is a really hard season to get through with Mr. Robot. 1 and 2. 2 is harder to get through than 3, really. If you got to 3, I'm surprised. 1 was fantastic. 2 was more difficult to follow because they went almost more like less story driven and more kind of atmospherically driven, if that makes sense. And then 3, they got back to the story.
Okay.
So I liked Mr. Robot season 3, but a lot of people didn't.
Never
and
watched.
I think there's going to be one more season of Mr. Robot. So let's see, what else do we have? Thanksgiving. What are your Thanksgiving plans?
Oh, I'll be working. So the family will probably go out of town as usual. We usually go to West Texas, see grandmother.
Okay.
And she's getting up there in age, so they need to go. I will probably be off Thanksgiving Day that week.
Are they going to be home, or are you going to be by yourself?
I'll probably be by myself.
I can bring you by at Thanksgiving Day.
I may.
I'll bring you some leftovers.
Okay. I may. I can run over and see my sisters for the day,
There you
maybe.
go.
Maybe spend the night and come back right the next morning and then go to work. I've got too much to do.
I was about to say, you're going to be opening.
The next week we start training and stuff, so,
you're gonna be
that'll
here.
be tough.
So my entire dad's side of the family's coming in. So
Wow.
this
Busy,
has
huh?
to clean.
Oh, my goodness.
The game room has to be cleaned
You're
up.
going to be busy
I
then.
know. So, and it is not clean now. You can't see it, but it's not clean. So it will be cleaned up. But we're going to have a lot of people at my parents' house and then hotels, and then they're going to eat, and we're going to have a good time. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. But at this point, Tim, I'm kind of tired. You know, Tim, true story, I've got... one of the pastors at our church, her daughter works for a news organization as a TV personality doing political commentary. And she told me that her daughter was going to have to stay up literally all night to cover the election. I said, how in the world do you do that? Because I am spent after 3 hours of a live show, 2.5 hours of a live show.
For
I'm
real.
like, how would you continue to do this all night long?
Yeah.
I'm like, couldn't do it. But of course, she wasn't the only one that has to carry the show.
Right.
Thankfully. She's got other people that help her carry the show. There's I think she had like 4 or 5 other hosts with her.
Right.
But could you imagine trying to carry a show for a 12 to 24 hour period just talking about politics? Oh my goodness, that drives me nuts. So there you go. Okay. Oh, Edward says his plan is to gain 500 pounds and get fat and sassy. Great Thanksgiving plan. Hopefully everybody does that. Watch the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Right? Go watch the Cowboy game. So,
I'll watch.
so that Thursday after that is when I'm going. So
Okay.
Thursday after Thanksgiving game. It's
Okay.
our Thursday night game.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
going to be the Saints game.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the 2 back-to-back Thursday night games, which helps with the schedule, I think.
And I will be in training people.
There you go.
Getting ready for a soft opening that weekend. We open December 3rd, so
Yeah. So maybe the next live show will be on location from Tim's place.
that'd be cool.
From Mr. Gatti's.
I think it's possible. Maybe we can make it work.
There you go. So
I'll book a room.
I forgot. I got one more thing. So Jason, which I think this is YouTube Punk Jason. I always forget. We got a lot of
Okay.
Jasons. But he sent this, and I did want to mention this here. Hey Jonathan, I know you'll appreciate this. I assembled these care packages with various goodies, snacks, water, hand lotion, Tylenol, hand warmers, toothbrushes, toothpaste, etc. and give them to homeless panhandlers I see driving around. Takes a little time, but thanks to Amazon and Costco, I can make these pretty cheap. Doesn't fix their problem, but it should help, Jason. And it does help, Jason.
That does help.
And you
That's
see,
awesome.
here's the deal, guys. I think the best way to support anybody you see on the corner is not with money. Does that make sense, Tim? Like,
Yep.
support them with goods. Support them with gift cards to restaurants, which is what I like to do, Tim.
Right.
Support them with a bag of stuff that they can actually use. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Tim, we're all about helping people. You know,
Right.
we say a lot of times we like to help people fix games, but we're really all about helping people.
Right.
And so this is a way that you can help people. And this Thanksgiving, Tim, is very important to think about everybody out there. There's a lot of people who don't have nice houses, nice homes to be in for Thanksgiving, or nice dinners.
Exactly. And you said it might not fix our problems, but what could be a major problem if you hadn't had to brush your teeth in 3 days?
Right.
It's a bigger problem than paying the rent.
Exactly.
In something, or especially if you're homeless or whatever. So what you really did, you did fix a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
And or created less problems for somebody who's already overwhelmed with a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And so don't ever belittle what something small can be to something big that you don't really you may never see. But I'll also give without trying to get any credit, and that's a way to do it.
Right.
You know?
So make little bags, hand them out to people. Tim, we support like there's different shelters here and things that feed people on Thanksgiving Day. You can volunteer there. You can give those places money because a lot of times that's where homeless people end up showing up is at these shelters, and they need a meal. And
I went and talked to Salvation Army and Goodwill and told them, if you got somebody that you can recommend, I've got jobs.
That's right.
And so I think we'll get some people from that. idea.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah. So, Tim is offering jobs right now to pretty much anybody who will take them. And so, in fact, he's got a Facebook video with over 1,000 views.
1,000 views in one afternoon.
That's right, where he's basically petitioning people to, and you put it on your Facebook page, on your personal page. You mind if we were posting on the Arcade Expo page? We'll do that. Where he's petitioning people to come get a job at Chuck E. Cheese, Mr. Gatti's.
Mr. Gatti's.
So if you are in need of a job, regardless of whether you're homeless or not, Tim has a lot of jobs that he's looking to fill. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to have opportunity to do some things. And so, but really, Tim, I mean, it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
Help somebody.
Well, I was asked to speak just for a minute at church the other day, and I said, I know people that gave out candy one night and put a Christmas tree up the next day.
That's true.
And there's nothing wrong with getting your Christmas tree up and getting your money's worth out of it. But, and I would say this, and we can close soon here, Jonathan, but I would say don't skip. Yes, Halloween's fun. Christmas is very important, but don't skip Thanksgiving. Don't forget to be thankful. If you're thankful for what you have, you won't complain about what you get for Christmas because you'll already be thankful for already. So do something nice for somebody. Feed somebody that would not eat if you had not stepped in and fed them. Pay for somebody's meal behind you at the drive-through lane. Do something. I want to challenge everybody to find some way to pay something forward and to do something and be thankful for what you have. We got games and cool stuff, and I got a good job, and I'm just very thankful. And thankful for our viewers and for the fun that we get to do and have this kind of stuff every month. So, guys, thank you again for listening and for being here. But find something, everybody's got something to be thankful for. And even if you're going through a tough time or, we always said, questions at Arcade Repair Tips just have to be about games. If you're going through a tough time and you need a friend or you need some advice, we'll give it. It may not always be the best, but it won't hurt much either. And,
life repair tips, Tim.
Life repair tips are always available. But I guarantee you, no matter what you're going through, somebody's going through something even tougher. And if you'll be thankful for what you're in and what you have, you'll appreciate what you have. It will make life so much easier.
So I saw a video today, Tim, that I thought was awesome. Guy would stand behind people in grocery lines. And whenever the toll came up, he'd just say, hey, I got this one.
Yeah.
And he'd just literally just pay the bill right there. Like people would be going for their credit card or whatever. He's like, no, I got this. And then he would go to the next one and like he'd just stand behind somebody. When that total came up on the cash register, he'd just go, nope, got this one.
I'll be honest. During election time, I got to where I almost didn't even want to go to Facebook.
Oh, I did. I deleted Facebook. I read a political post that made me so mad. I deleted the app off my phone, and I did not get back on full time, like on a regular basis till yesterday.
And it's not just opposing side views.
Right.
It was people who believe in the same stuff I do that
too.
were arguing about stuff, and I'm like, gosh, we're losing our sense of compassion and what people is. But in the midst of that, I saw a video of a white lady, an older white lady. Have you seen this video? She's trying to pay for her gas in pennies.
Oh my goodness.
And she's counting them out, and two black guys come up and they give her money and pay for her gas. And she's like, and then she tells them, I used to have a lot of money and my husband died and I'm struggling and all this. And she says, this was it. I just needed some gas to get back and forth to work. And that was only about a half a tank or something. Anyway, and they got her a tank of gas, and it just kind of restored my whole faith in humanity. They didn't ask if she was a Republican or a Democrat or or an independent or a libertarian or if she liked Trump or not, or if she voted for Kavanaugh or not. They just saw a need and they fulfilled it. And she didn't go, well, you're two black guys. I don't know if I can trust you. She was very thankful to get that. And I think that that's something that at some point, whether you agree, we all need to learn how to debate, just like we have debates. We need to learn how to debate without disliking each other.
Right.
Or just because your opinion's different than mine, that I have to dislike you. I mean, I have to agree with you. I can have my own opinion.
Right.
I should be able to say what I feel, too. But at the same time, we should be able to walk away and still be friends even when we don't agree on stuff.
Absolutely. Civility, Tim.
Yeah.
What happened to civility?
And I think part of that is we just get wrapped up in the news and stuff. We sometimes just have to turn that stuff off And there's people out there, they don't care what color you are. They don't care what you belong to. Especially we talked earlier about homeless people. They don't ask me who I voted for. They just hungry. They just need some food. So help somebody. And that'll make you feel better. It will make you better.
That's right. And about the lady with the pennies, though.
Yeah.
What did those guys have to do in order to pay the bill? They had to take their head out of their phones,
Right,
and look around them. And I think so often, Tim, you say, I don't see hurting people around me, or I don't see people who are in desperate need around me. There are people all around you.
Yeah, hang out at the grocery store and wait for that single mom sitting there counting that change across or something, you know. Or
don't be so stuck in your phone or so wrapped up in what you're doing to not look around and see the people who need help around you, Tim. They're all around you. Right. And it may not be monetary help. It may be emotional help or physical help.
Right.
It may just be, I've been at Walmart before. I see an old lady struggling with a case of water, trying to get in the back of her trunk. Mm-hmm. Go up and help that lady. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so keep your eyes open for opportunities. Your opportunities all around you.
Right.
So there you go. I think we're ending on that.
Yeah, let's go.
Faith in humanity restored. We've restored somebody's faith in humanity today,
Yeah.
Tim. So we are going to leave at this point.
Yeah, and we're serious. If you need help, contact us.
Questions at arcaderepairtips.com.
Yeah. Live tips.
Live
free.
repair tips. That's
Live
right.
repair tips are always available. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking around. A lot of you are still here.
I know.
What's up with you guys? You listen to us talk about politics, about everything, but we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to subscribe and like us and join our Facebook page and get to know us. Maybe we even meet up one day.
Absolutely. So, and it was great to meet people in Houston too, Tim. I met, obviously a lot of viewers and things there.
Yeah.
But thank you guys again for joining us. And remember, December 6th, Tim, maybe live at Mr. Gatti's. That will be our tease. So we'll see you guys December 6th. Have a great night, great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
Bye, everybody.